free estate planning consultation. Allow me to meet with you in my law office or in the comfort and privacy of your home and provide you with your free consultation. Telephones are answered 24/7. If I am not at the office or if I am with a client, my staff or answering service will send me a text and I will return your call in a timely manner. Thank you for taking your valuable time to listen to me today. I appreciate every listener and I look forward to meeting you at your earliest convenience. For estate planning in uncertain times, I'm Attorney John D'Onofrio. Call me today, 412-928-2068. Schedule your complimentary consultation. Call today. Get peace of mind today. That's 412-928-2068. Thank you, and have a great day.
The preceding program was pre-recorded.
The proceeding was paid for by D'Onofrio Law Office, PC. Information on the program was intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information heard on the preceding program.
At a time when children are in crisis, the Kids Mental Health Foundation envisions a future where mental health is a vital part of growing up, and support starts with all of us. At home, at school, at practice, everywhere kids are.
If you're at school having a bad day, you just don't want to do anything.
I just get these thoughts like, do better. All my little emotions in my head is just running crazy. I don't know what to do.
As a teacher or coach, do you ever feel overwhelmed?
He's just in tears in the huddle. I was like, what's wrong? And he's just like, I'm just so frustrated. And I didn't know what to do.
None of my undergraduate studies talked about mental health.
Teachers need tons of help.
The Kids Mental Health Foundation is the leading organization promoting mental health for children in the U.S. and has free tools and information developed by experts.
Having those resources is the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
Check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Len. Iran is proposing a new plan to end the war, but CBS's Wendy Gillette reports President Trump isn't very optimistic it will bring peace.
President Trump held an impromptu press conference Saturday before departing Palm Beach, Florida, focused on current negotiations with Iran to end the U.S. war.
They want to make a deal. They're decimated. They're having a hard time figuring out who their leader is.
Later, he posted online about the proposal, writing, "Can't imagine that it would be acceptable in that they have not yet paid a big enough price for what they have done to humanity and the world over the last 47 years.
One of the major sticking points between the U.S. and Iran is who will control the Strait of Hormuz. It's blocked right now, which is the big reason gas prices have skyrocketed. President Trump insists gas and oil prices will sharply drop as soon as the war is over. According to AAA, the average price for a gallon of regular right now is $4.44. Meanwhile, the president's pulling thousands of U.S. troops out of Germany after the German chancellor said the U.S. has been humiliated by Iran and has no strategy there. Democratic Congressman Jason Crow criticized the move on Face the Nation.
It appears as though this decision was made because Donald Trump was upset by a comment made by the German chancellor. Like he is getting emotional and angry about this, and he's making really consequential troop movement decisions based upon, being upset by the comments of a foreign leader, which is no way to run a foreign policy.
Correspondent Chris Livesay is in Morocco, where there's an intense search for 2 missing American troops.
U.S. military officials tell CBS News they went missing in what is believed to be an accident that was unrelated to military activities. Their names and details surrounding the incident have not yet been released.
After 2 bankruptcy filings in in the last 2 years, Spirit Airlines has run out of money and shut down abruptly this weekend. WJZ-TV reporter Casey Baylor is at BWI.
It's an odd scene for travelers at BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport, seeing no bags, lines, or staff at the Spirit Airlines check-in counter.
There was always people lining up, ready to go.
Now the airport's second largest carrier is gone.
Just bizarre to see, this part of the airport, just no activity.
We were just shocked that they would kind of close abruptly without planning for anyone else's travel.
BWI airport leaders told Spirit customers not to come to the airport as all Spirit flights are canceled.
Other airlines are now stepping in to try to help Spirit customers. Some are even offering up discounted flight prices to get travelers to their destinations. This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
A movie sequel tops the box office this weekend. The Devil Wears Prada 2 is projected to earn around $75 to $80 million in the U.S. and up to $180 million globally. That's one of the biggest openings of the year so far. The film reunites Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway nearly 20 years after the original.
Hi, Emily. You also know her? We were at Runway at the same time, Miranda. Really? Where was I?
With The Devil Wears Prada 2 moving into the top spot, the Michael Jackson biopic Michael has slipped down to second place. Analysts say the strong turnout reflects growing audience demand for big-name franchises and nostalgia-driven hits heading into the peak summer movie season. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Sun mixing with clouds this afternoon, the high 58. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 49. Breezy and warmer tomorrow, partly sunny, high 71. And then mostly cloudy Tuesday with a thunderstorm in the area, high 75. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
And now,
you want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle.
Lenny McAllister.
The way we bring back America and bring people together is by making sure we hold everybody accountable in a 360 fashion.
Yes, there is a change that we can believe in, but it will never come from a politician or a government program.
Lenny McAllister. Well-spoken.
We got to move away from the American Idol soundbite nature of politics back to the American statesman of humble servant leadership that we used to see in politics.
If we get some common sense governing from both sides of the aisle, we can finally get Americans through the recession,
not just Wall Street. Principles of politics. I'd rather have principles. I speak to the kids in the street. Well, I'm never going to lay down being conservative just as much as I'll never lay down being a proud African American.
I feel like a black Republic. Money I got coming in. Can't turn my back on the hood. I got love for them.
Welcome to a sunny Sunday here. Broadcasting live and in Technicolor from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Home of the 2026 NFL Draft that cost you hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But hey, we looked good on the air. And before I even dive into that later on in the show, and again, 866-391-1020, not trying to thumb my nose at anybody per se. I'm not trying to thumb my nose at all. They're already writing about, hey, was this a colossal failure to stimulate economic growth? Or was this a very, very cheap infomercial for, tourists to visit Pittsburgh that we had over the last 3 days last week? Something that I said on the air on Monday, something that continues to hit print. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Again, phone lines are open, 866-391-1020. Couple things I want to get to before I get to the phone lines. First and foremost, had an opportunity to hang with some really good people. I was at the Republican borough of, it's not a Republican borough, it is a Republican borough in the sense that the registration leans that way, but it's Plumboro Republican dinner. Tells you where my mind is. Friday night, had an opportunity to speak right before Pennsylvania GOP gubernatorial candidate and current Pennsylvania Treasurer Stacey Garrity. Thank you very much for that, ma'am, for that opportunity. Thank you to Steve Schlock and others for the opportunity to speak. Got a chance to see a lot of wonderful people. James Hayes, who's running for Congress again this year, he was there. I also had a chance to see Amy Noon, who is running for State House out in that region. If she wins, she would be my State House rep out there. And it makes me want to say this to everybody out there. And I know that there are going to be some at 866-391-1020 that don't like this, but let me say it now. The old axiom that we are more alike than we are different came through again on Friday night at Pugliano's. Shout out to Pugliano's on 286 for the Plumboro Republican dinner. As Americans, when you say the word Americans, you are, whether you realize it or not, you are implying a whole lot of diversity, common values, a common story, but looking and feeling very, very different. And that's just how it is. And Friday night exemplified that once again for me. I got to speak to a group for about 10 minutes and look out at the crowd and see people that volunteered on my congressional campaign 10 years ago. I got to see people that I hadn't seen in years. I got to talk about a candidate whose husband played baseball with me all the way back when we were 10 years old, whose father-in-law coached me between the ages of 10 and 14 on different all-star teams. I could still see him with the scorebook when you actually had to put down 6-3 when you were going from shortstop to first base on a ground out versus this whole game changer thing that these kids have. They don't even know the joy of keeping score at a baseball game. But Mr. Noon used to do that. To be able to see people and be reminded again of what the commonalities are that we share as Pennsylvanians, people in Allegheny County, or in America. As I take phone calls and I hear people complain about the things that are going on, and rightfully so, I'm going to also hold in my mind the good people that I saw there on Friday night, people that I love, people that I appreciate, people that I cherish, and people that I hope succeed in life, just like I hope all of you all succeed in life. And here's the caveat not even a caveat. Here's a cherry on top I'm going to put on it, on all of this, on a Sunday no less. See how I did that? I know that some of you will say they can't be good people because the vast majority, if not all of them, voted for Donald Trump. There are people that are good people that do things you don't like. Those people remember the article from 2016 that said that I would not endorse Trump, and that's why I didn't speak at the convention in Cleveland. It was the only thing that kept me from speaking at the convention in Cleveland. And that while they're campaigning for Trump, they had this dichotomy they had to deal with 10 years ago. And they still showed me love, and I still show them love. That's how it's supposed to work in America. I know what we have currently from various forms of government. And before we say Donald Trump ushered this in, I'm going to take you back to the IRS going after Tea Party groups 10 to 15 years ago. Donald Trump wasn't president 10 to 15 years ago. That did happen. There were other instances of targeting, if you will. I bring it up because whether it was at the dinner on Friday night or other events that I've done at Pennsylvania Leadership Conference, Spirit of America, Good Citizen Day, even though those last two have a more diverse group, ideologically and otherwise. We have to be reminded, and we have to be reminded intentionally every day, even if it's just for a couple of minutes, that we are unique in our commonalities that exist amongst our diversity. And if you go after the commonalities or you go after the diversity, you ruin what is America. You must embrace both the commonalities and the diversity if you are trying to uplift America. That's how it's always been. Anytime we go after one or the other, we struggle. When we embrace both, we win. We win the future. We uplift the next generation. We inspire the world. And, by the way, we build businesses. We increase how our kids are doing in school. We lengthen our life expectations in regards to length of life, quality of life, how long you're active in the workforce, how long you're active in communities. All of that goes in the right direction. I was reminded again on Friday, you must embrace the common values, the commonalities, while you're also embracing the diversity. Now, I'll be honest. There's one side that wants to go after the commonalities, and there's one side that wants to go after the diversity. You can figure that out for yourself. But that is something that I saw, and it struck me with a sense of love, but also a sense of heightened intentionality. I wanted to make sure I brought that up. Other thing I want to bring up before I go to break and before I go to phone calls at 866-391-1020 is another group that I had a chance to talk to recently. Black Pastors United for Education. They had their annual cohort summit here in Pittsburgh not that long ago, about a week ago. Had a chance to talk to that group. As you can imagine, I just told you about the Plumboro Republican dinner, with it being so Republican that I called it Republican Borough. And now I'm telling you about Black Pastors United for Education. How many of those pastors do you think are registered Republicans? But with that said, they're taking a stand for education, and they should. You can have separation of church and state, but that doesn't mean that the church is not supposed to be involved in the state. Every single movement we've had in America, from the Quakers, that resonates here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, from the Quakers to the abolitionists, to the 20th century civil rights movement, to the 21st century civil rights movement. There is a role for the church, for ethics, for morality, and dare I say spirituality. There is a role for those items to be leveraged to make America better, to move us past critical points of time, to allow inflection points to become reflection points. And anybody that thinks that the church should not be involved in education equity doesn't understand that the church is in the role of lifesaver, not just saving your soul, but saving your behind as well. And to save your behind in modern day America and a modern day global economy, you have to have a good education. You have to be able to critical think. You have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to know who you are, not just as a child of God, but as an American citizen that can do great things if you have the perseverance to keep going. Sometimes the only place you're going to get that inspiration is on a Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. Or if you're Catholic, Saturday night. Or if you're of an other faith, it's Friday night or Saturday. You get my point. There's a role for faith in America to move us past secular issues. It always has been, always will be. You can do that without bashing somebody over the head with your religion. Jesus didn't talk about a religion. Jesus talked about faith of a mustard seed and moving mountains. So I commend Black Pastors United for Education for doing that. Interestingly enough, I want to get to a quote that I shared with them after the break that talks about faith. They are purchasing a Venn diagram of one, an American story. I commend them and I appreciate them doing that. Those of you go to my website, lennymcallister.com. You can find the link to do it there. Of course, you can go to Barnes & Noble. You can go to Amazon. Again, distributed by Simon & Schuster in August. Had a chance to, and I'll tease. I'll do a nice little radio tease and say I had a chance to talk about the book on a larger platform. Now I know there's what larger platform is there than News Radio KDKA. Well, I'll share it with you after the break. I'll read the quote. I'll get to the phone lines, and we'll go from there. But first, I got to go to break. You're on News Radio KDKA.
Now more than ever, we're the station you can trust for the information you need. KDKA.
I'm talking with John Diagardi of Rome Monument about something he feels people should avoid. John, can you elaborate?
I sure can, Rob. When a loved one passes, their spouse and relatives are under stress. They feel pressure to get things taken care of quickly.
Is that not a good idea?
Not when it comes to the monument. Rob, when the funeral is over, when everyone goes home, the monument is the one thing that is permanent. 50, even 100 years from now, that monument will still be there. Families need to take time to make decisions about the best way to memorialize their loved one.
John, how can families avoid making a costly mistake?
People shouldn't make quick decisions under stress that they'll regret later. For over 80 years, Rome Monument has helped thousands of families create a lasting tribute to their loved ones. And when you're ready, Rome Monument will be there.
Great advice, John. Friends, visit one of Rome Monument's 9 showrooms or learn more at romemonuments.com.
Hey, folks, my friends at NASCO Roofing take pride in exceeding customer expectations. Joe from Pittsburgh loved the excellent work NASCO did on replacing his roof and gutters. It was a big job that NASCO completed in just 2 days with excellent attention to every detail. Joe was also impressed with NASCO's cleanup that left his home spotless. NASCO has thousands of customers that are satisfied like Joe. Get NASCO on your roof. Call NASCO 412-373-2000. 412-373-2000. Special financing available. NASCO Roofing. NASCO.
Spring savings continue at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, lean and tender pork shoulder steaks or roast are $1.99 a pound. In the produce department, fresh red ripe strawberries 1 pound packages 2 for $5. In our deli department, jalapeno popper dip $7.99 a pound. And additional savings this week, selected varieties of Old El Paso dinner kits 8 to 13 ounce boxes 2 for $7.
So get in on the spring savings at Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
furnished by IntelliBrands. Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Get an Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact. Improve your flexibility and balance, strengthen and tone your legs.
My joints feel better, my knees feel better, my back feels better, and it makes me feel stronger too.
My circulation is moving. I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
It's so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. And for a limited time, get a free upgrade to our deluxe bundle with a faster motor, sport mat, and wireless remote. Call 800-555-1212. That's 800-555-1212. 800-555-1212 now. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at KennyRoss.com.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Now, before I go to the phone lines at 866-391-1020, the radio tease was, as I was bringing up a Venn diagram of one, An American Story, which you can find on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and the like before Simon & Schuster distributes the book, August 11th, on bookshelves everywhere. Had a chance, and I know Mike the Millennial, if you're listening out there, you'll probably get a kick out of this, had an opportunity to go on the Michael Medved show, which you've heard here in the Pittsburgh market for years. And he heard me give a speech a couple of weeks ago, really liked the speech, invited me on the show, and we talked about a Venn diagram of one. Had a chance to do that. It is now featured on his website. He has this little page that's called As Mentioned on the Show, and it's an honor to be part of that page. You go to As Mentioned on the Show, Michael Medved, at the top right now, at least for right now because it was the last interview. At the top, a Venn diagram of one. So we'll continue to talk about it. I'll read the quote from the book today. But in the meanwhile, 866-391-1020, I want to get to the phone lines. I'm going to Bishop and Denora. Bishop, you're on KDKA.
Yeah, I had to call in first. I'll try to get your book when it comes out. But if I can get it...
You can get the book now. You can pre-order the book right now, and it'll be shipped to you. You'll get it on August 11th. You'll be one of the first to have it in your possession.
I want my autograph.
You can still get that.
Number two is, listen, this is a travesty. I mean, I don't know. I hope you Republicans really talk about it, because it's your president.
It's our president. It's our president.
Well, yeah, he's ours, but he's yours specifically. $4.99, Brother Lenny, for this freaking ill-inflated war that he doesn't even know how to get out. And I think, personally, in my opinion, he is punishing the American people.
I don't think I don't think he's punishing the American people, Bishop. What I think is I think he is misplayed. I mean, it's the same thing with the tariff war. This is a president that started a tariff war before COVID. This is a president that started a tariff war after COVID. You look at the job numbers. It was supposed to bring jobs back. It hasn't done that. It was supposed to bring prices down. It hasn't done that. And this is a president who, along with the prominent Democrats, including Nancy Pelosi, completely fumbled the bag when it came to COVID. So when I look at this, I'm not going to sit there and say that he's intentionally punishing the American people. I am more inclined to say, I'm telling you, I'm more inclined to say that he mismanaged the situation, because I've watched him mismanage multiple situations. This is nothing new. In fact, if you look at his history, that's nothing new. So until I see evidence that it's nothing more than a person that is serially mismanaging situations throughout his life, I'm not going to make it out to be an intentional punishment of the American people.
Well, I beg your pardon, because he doesn't care. I know people are telling him and warning. $4.99 and gas prices will probably go up to over $5 around here, probably in the next couple of days. I know it's already $5 and $6 other places out west. Now, let me just tell you about this Voting Act. And I'm sure you guys didn't talk about that at the Republican summit that you had with some of the ones that you just attended.
Well, hold on. I will tell you what we talked about. I'll tell you most of the people there were candidates, so they talked about their candidacies. And what I talked about was leadership. I talked about when you get active in this election season, don't just be active as a Republican. Be active as a leader. Because America right now doesn't necessarily just need Republicans. It needs leadership. Now, I gave examples of Republican leadership from an executive perspective, but I said let's focus less on the Republican, focus more on the leadership, and that's what people need to bring to the table if they win elected office moving forward. So that's what I talked about,
Okay.
and that does include tying into the Voting Rights Act.
What can you tell me, or our Republican Party tell me, that basically, because they don't get me started with the Supreme Court, the Republican side of it basically gutted what my folks fought for to vote as black folks.
Wait, it wasn't. Stop, Bishop. I gotta go. Hold on, because I gotta go to break, and I'm trying. I got a guest coming up at the bottom of the. I'm trying to get to you and to Ted. So hang on. I'm gonna go quickly to you after the break, then to Ted, then I'm going to my guest. But here's the thing, Norm. You act like only Democrats voted for the Voting Rights Act. You act like only Democrats voted for the Civil Rights Act in the 60s. And you act like the Democrats weren't the party of the Klan for 100 years. Spare me that. My people, your people, this. That's the problem. I literally spoke to this. You can't claim the commonalities or the diversity. It's got to be both, or else we're going to stay divided. You stay divided, these gas prices will continue to go up. There will not be balanced government. There will not be balanced perspectives, and there will not be statesmen in office. We'll continue to have people going around calling John Fetterman and Donald Trump and, Mr. Magoo statesmen. America needs more people that love this country more than they love winning opinion wars or being trendy on social media. And we don't have that right now. I'll give it back to you, but after the news, then Ted, then I'm going to my guest, my wonderful friend, Dr. Norm Conti, but after the news here on News Radio KDKA.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of adults, both men and women, suffer from varicose or spider veins. And this is not just a cosmetic problem. If left untreated, varicose veins can lead to severe swelling, cramping, heavy bleeding, the inability to stand or walk, neuropathy, permanent paralysis, and worst case, blood clots, which can be life-threatening. But here's the good news. USA Vein Clinics offer plans that treat and cure the condition, not just cover up the problem. And the procedure is fast and simple. Grab your phone, take down this number, and call 800-452-0119. That's 800-452-0119. When you call, you'll get free information on how you can live your life to the fullest again. Walk, exercise, sleep well. Your varicose vein problems will not go away on their own. Call USA Vein Clinics today for free information on fast and easy solutions covered by most insurance, including Medicare. Call 800-452-0119. That's 800-452-0119. Call 800-452-0119 today.
Join Beth Andrews for the Net Worth Financial Hour Saturdays at 1 to get the news and information you need to make your retirement dream a reality. That's the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews, Saturdays at 1. Net Worth Advisors, LLC is a registered investment advisor.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. The war with Iran continues to cause fuel prices to rise. President and CEO of Minneapolis Fed, Neil Kashkari, told CBS just how much it's impacting the economy.
The price effect, the energy effect on energy prices from the Iran conflict is already by some measures as big or larger than when Russia invaded Ukraine.
President Trump defended his decision to not seek congressional approval for the war in Iran.
The Democrats in Congress that pushed this, and probably a couple of Republicans, they're hurting our negotiating ability, which is infinite right now.
After the Supreme Court rolled back part of a landmark Voting Rights Act, Senator Raphael Warnock, a Democrat from Georgia, told Face the Nation.
What happened this week is nothing less than a massive and devastating blow, not only to our democracy, but particularly to people of color in the South.
CBS News Brief. I'm Stacey Lynn.
Furnished by IntelliBrands. Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Get an Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact. Improve your flexibility and balance. Strengthen and tone your legs.
My joints feel better, my knees feel better, my back feels better, and it makes me feel stronger too.
My circulation is moving. I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
It's so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. And for a limited time, get a free upgrade to our deluxe bundle with a faster motor, sport mat, and wireless remote. Call 800-555-1212. That's 800-555-1212. 800-555-1212 now. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Lowe's has the brands pros trust to get the job done. You can now shop new Catalyst fencing solutions and save big when you do. 10% off when you buy in bulk. Plus, save $180 on a DeWalt 12-inch dual-bevel sliding compound miter saw. Now just $449. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/6 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Sun mixing with some clouds this afternoon. The high 58, mostly cloudy tonight, low 49, breezy and nicer tomorrow, partly sunny I-71, maybe a thunderstorm Tuesday, I-75. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
Going through a big weekend? Yep. We'll get there to Monday, and when Monday hits, for sure, I'll be back. It's going to be fantastic. With you 2 to 6 on Monday. Join me then. Colin Dunlap, right here, KDK.
All right, Brother Bishop, you get like 30 seconds, and I got to go.
My 30 seconds is this. I'm more patriotic than a whole lot of folks. But let me just tell you this. It's wrong. I don't know how the Republican Party can get to people of color with this kind of decision when they flank themselves with this current administration. So that's my 30 seconds. Hopefully one of these times we'll get to talk in person.
We can do that. Can I retort to you? Can I give you the retort before you go? Before I go to Ted?
Yeah.
The retort is, I mean, for 100 years, KKK members that were all Democrats that blocked black people out of elected office, didn't let them vote, took their land, chased them out of the South, and killed, raped, and otherwise horrifically terrorized black folks for 100 years since the Compromise of 1876, which, by the way, was a centennial celebration, which is pretty ironic that we're going through something like this at 250 as well. But I digress. Black folks ended up electing black Democrats for mayors and Congress and everything else within 5 years. So things change in America. I'm not saying that to hate to use the word, but I'm going to say it, to whitewash what's going on. But the flip side is things pivot quickly in America, both to the bad and to the good, when we're intentional about what we're doing. So that's my retort. But we can do that soon. You have a wonderful Sunday, and God bless you as always. I guess that was it. Back to the phones, 866-391-1020. Ted in Mount Washington. What's going on, child of God? You're on KDKA.
What's going on, Lenny?
I'm trying to be like you one day.
Oh, good luck. But and well, I can't wait to get your book. Yeah, I'm going to get my autograph too. So, real quick, I'm glad that you mentioned black pastors in education, regardless of party. What was their opinion on illegal immigration in education?
What was their opinion on illegal immigration and education? Well, we didn't talk about that issue, to be quite honest with you.
Oh.
Well, hold on, because it wasn't the type of event where I was there to talk about, partisan issues. I was there to talk about this is how the kids in your church communities get access to different types of education based on their needs. Where are your churches? Are they in bad neighborhoods? Are they going to bad schools? Or do they have scholarship opportunities available to them? Do they have tutoring services available to them? What academic options are available for your kids in your congregations to allow them to not kind of slip into the same ruts that the communities that your churches may be in have slipped into for 20, 30, 40, 50 years? It was that kind of conversation. Now, I understand where you're going. There's an argument to be made that, okay, if the church is going to be involved with education equity, the church can't be silent on issues of social justice or criminal justice or other types of genuine justice, but take something that can lean more partisan. I think that's where you're going, and I think that's a fair point, but that was not the point of that cohort summit.
Well, do you know there's legislation in other states called Protect Our Kids when it comes to illegal immigration? If you live on a border state, you're being bombarded in your educational system. Meanwhile, people born in this country can't get adequate education. That is a huge issue. And both parties have been silent on that. And that Supreme Court, when it comes to the 14th Amendment, citizenship is going to be huge. And I'm telling you, Lenny, there's no way anyone can sidestep it. I don't care if it's public or charter schools. You cannot no longer talk about quality education for poor black people without talking about illegal immigration, how that affected when it comes to resources. And there should be legislation. No way you can take taxpayer dollars anymore, given to people not even born in this country. There's no way you can sidestep that. And that is a huge issue.
And Ted, to your point, one of the issues that always ends up coming up is how do you do right by people that have come to your borders that may have different immigration statuses in regards to, are they here legally? Are they here temporarily legally? Are they here permanently with a green card? Are they a child of one person that has a green card and another person that's not here legally? Are they legally here with a grandmother that's permanently here, but then the parents came up, and so it's this weird dynamic going on where it's both parents who are here illegally, a grandparent who is a permanent green card holder, and then a 7-year-old. So when you're a school district, you're put into that conundrum. But to the greater point, it's hard to really. It's not hard. It's a missed opportunity to hyper focus on that situation and then turn to black communities that have been redlined out of good school districts for upwards of 100 years. If you don't focus on both of those things at the same exact time, you will chase the shiny new toy of, hey, there's more Latinos than black folks in the country. Some of them are here legally. Some of them are not, obviously. We have to fix this issue without realizing, we created this mess 100 years ago. We never appropriately dealt with it. We're throwing some scholarship money at it, but we're not trying to catch up fast enough. And again, I quoted Dr. Steve Perry in my testimony before the Pennsylvania State Education Committee back in 2019. He gives a number. He gave a number back then that at the current rate of education, it would take African Americans 237 years to catch up to the rest of the country. Think about that.
Oh, no, I see it. Okay? I mean, even from white liberals. I mean, progressives for who? Okay? Both sides play this game, Lenny. Both sides. And they go to, they march their butt to, Washington or to Harrisburg, beg for taxpayers' money, and absolutely devastate the community they're trying to save.
Ted, I appreciate your phone call, and I concur. I mean, people are not good enough in these roles to focus on both things at the same exact time. And more often than not, they're listening to the partisanship of the issue and not the heart of the matter. And that gets in the way as well. Now, hard to pivot, but not a hard pivot, because this is a guy that listens to the heart of the matter, that tries to sidestep partisanship and has been putting the work in since I met him. Talking about Dr. Norm Conti, my good friend. Dr. Conti, thank you for joining me here on News Radio KDKA.
Lenny, it's great to be here with a wonderful statesman like yourself and my second favorite Republican.
And the first one's related to you, so I take that as a wonderful honor.
Well, I mean that.
I know you do. So I'm looking over this op-ed that's going to come out in the PG shortly, and it's more highlighting the work that you're doing, and you've been doing for years with the Inside Out program by way of Duquesne University, but really it touches the country. Norm, are you seeing a shift from policymakers in regards to why your work matters? I saw why it matters the first day I went with you, and that was over 10 years ago. But do you think that lawmakers are seeing it now from not just an economic standpoint or a feel-good standpoint, but from a this is how we can heal our community, society, prevent crime, and get people back on track perspective?
I'd like to say that they're seeing it the way you're describing it, Lenny, but I think that they're seeing it and they're afraid of it. And I think that's what we see in Florida. I was asked by the Post-Gazette to write an article about sociology, and I did that, and I wrote it, and it's basically that what you saw, but then they came back to me and they said, yeah, but we want you to talk about what's going on in Florida. And I said, what the hell is going on in Florida? So I looked into it, and it turned out that the Florida legislature, right, has removed sociology from the Common Core, right, the basic classes that all of the students who attend public universities in Florida, they've removed it from that list of classes, right? So by doing that, that's telling me that they're afraid. There's something in sociology that they're afraid of, and they're hoping that by choking off the flow of students into the discipline, right, they can hopefully make some kind of a negative impact on it and not have to deal with the positive results that the science has to offer, and instead sort of focus on this mythology that they're using to drive their policies.
And Norm, it has to be frustrating because as an academic that is also in the real world, and look, and you know as well as I do, there are some academics, let me phrase it like that, there are some academics that just live in academia, and so there's not a real world application to what they do, what they teach, what they research, and what they write. You are not that dude. So as you're seeing the political fights go on that impact your real world work, what are some of the ways that you're adjusting on the fly to make sure that Dr. Norm Conti, Trailblazer, is able to continue to blaze those trails versus just saying, I'm Dr. Norm Conti, Pivoter guy when these things keep coming up?
Yeah, well, I think you gave me the answer right there. It's by to continue to engage in the community, to continue to be in the real world, as many days a week as I can. Right? There is a problem in academics that folks are on the campus, they're in the ivory tower too much, right? And there is in sociology, right? There is a tendency sometimes for folks to maybe be a little too far to the left, just like in religion, right? People tend to be a little more conservative. In policing, people tend to be a little more conservative. You don't want to get rid of religion or police because the population tends to see things a little more one way, but you might want to adjust. And that's what my career is really about. Trying to just live in that ivory tower and do that thing for me, got very boring very quickly. So the idea is, as a sociologist, I'm interested in how people interact with each other. I'm interested in what's going on between people. A psychologist is interested in what's going on within people, but I want to know how they're interacting. I want to know what everything means to people. I want to hear their stories, right? I want to be out in the world. I want to listen to police officers. I want to listen to guys in jail. I want to listen to whoever and try to see what's the commonality, where's the hope, where's the potential to do something good, and how do we do that?
I'm talking to Dr. Norm Conti, who is the Pierre, is it Chauvert?
Pierre Chauvert, yeah.
The Pierre Chauvert Endowed Chair in Mission.
And I have long hair, so that also rhymes.
It rhymes and it flows. You like how I did that? It flows. so this is, I'm talking to him, he's of Duquesne University. Part of the article says this. You said, I figured I could do more good studying police in order to understand the problems that they respond to, cause, and suffer from. Both, I added that emphasis, than I could by joining the ranks of just status quo thinking. I added that. After a decade of reading and writing, fieldwork and data and analysis, collaboration, publication, and friendship, I came up with a way to bring police officers together with men for a dynamic educational experience that could do each group as well as our city some good. That, and Norm, I've told you this before, so this is nothing new. We've done this over, waffles and eggs at Eaton Park. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. That takes a certain level of courage and vision to do, because that's not a popular thing to do. And by doing it by way of a university, the cohort you deal with is always going to be moving in and out, because one guy's going to be a sophomore, the other lady's going to be a junior. And then in 4 years, they're both likely gone. If they go to grad school halfway across the country, they'll send you an email. They may touch base or do something via Zoom. They're not physically with you doing these things. You always have access to facilities. Sometimes people are accessible. Sometimes there's not. We had CSI Pittsburgh shut down. That was a place you and I had gone to together. Now you have to go to other facilities around the western part of the state or even the eastern part of the state. Talk to me a little bit about how you keep the vision fresh to be able to have these educational experiences that help the guys and ladies in blue, but also help the community members, those that are going to be incarcerated for life, but also the vast majority of them that are going to be able to go back home to communities, and together maybe those two groups can help each other make our region better and stronger.
That's a great question. Thank you so much. And the answer is kind of in what you read, because as a young person, I'm someone who wanted to be a police officer. I'm someone who wanted to work in law enforcement. I'm someone who wanted to, do good, help people, be my own kind of superhero. Except that along the way, I thought, well, hey, maybe there's a different way that I could do more good, right? And even when I say the problems that police respond to, cause, and suffer from, most groups want to focus on either the problems that police respond to or the problems that police cause, right? But just like you, me, our kids, our parents, everyone else on this planet, we all respond to, cause, and suffer from problems, right? Most people don't think about the problems that police are suffering from. So that's very easy to focus on, to see police officers driving around their car, to see them walking around downtown in their uniforms or whatever, and just loving these men and women, right, and really appreciating them and appreciating what they do. And the other side of that is when you take the time to work with, in my case it's mostly been men, exceptional men in prison, men who have life sentences and have managed to hold on to their humanity, expand their humanity. Someone who's able to do that in such a circumstances, they're not less than you and me. They're not less than the average person on the street. They're more because they're being just as good in terrible situations. So I'm always inspired by that. I'm always inspired by these officers that are working every day. I'm inspired by the men I've known in prison, some of whom unjustly incarcerated for decades, some of them who absolutely did what they were convicted of, but have evolved so much and are in there working every day in their own way, trying to make the world a better place, right? These guys in prison who you've met are trying to educate their peers. They're trying to convince them to go down paths that will lead them not back to prison, right? They're trying to stop fights. They're trying to do everything they can. It's really incredible to know those men. And, but sometimes like my good friend Robert Farouk Weidman, the brother of the great author John Edgar Weidman, he was released about 5 years ago, and I've been blessed with the opportunity to work with him out here in the community. He's done work outreach for the unhoused. He's helped with reentry. We work together on all the programs I do at Duquesne. That's such a joy to see this guy. If you're familiar with his story, he probably had 10 or 15 years coming to him for what he was a part of, but he did 44 years, right? And he's not bitter. He's not angry. He's just trying to make the most of the time he has left and what he can do here on the outside. So I'm incredibly inspired on a daily basis to get to go out and try to make an impact on the world. And you're right. My wife says, Norm, you go and you push against entire institutions, right? And that maybe there's just something about my personality that I'm drawn to that. But it's fun, right? It's exciting. And then when you can have the students at Duquesne and they're young and they're full of energy and they're not quite as worn out and jaded as I might be on certain days. It's fun to see the excitement in their eyes and get them involved and do this stuff. And if you're a creative person to think, okay, I'm doing this, what else can I do? How can I take this interest in something like theater? How can I parlay that into more opportunities? How can I take this interest in writing and make stuff out of that? How can we read? How can we get together and try to find common ground? It's everything that I heard you talking about on the show so far today, right? We can't just keep in this divided situation. It's just destroying everything.
It is. And before I let you go, again, I'm talking to Dr. Norm Conti, a good friend of mine, does wonderful, wonderful work over at Duquesne University. I only have about a minute left, if you will, but let me ask you this question. Explain to people what it's like to focus on the work without as many headlines. You mentioned that a lot of the folks that do the work focus on the headline-making work. I can't believe this police officer followed XYZ individual, or I can't believe they went in there and just ambushed these police officers. People are into that work, and there's something to be said about resolving that, obviously. But you're not doing the headline-chasing work. You're doing the oftentimes anonymous work that's going to help keep people safe and make communities better. What's that dynamic like? Just 60-second glimpse for the audience of this is what it looks like every single day, even though you don't read about my article in the PG every single day.
Yeah, my headlines are for myself. People that do this work know that so many of the people in power and so many of the people who are getting those headlines are either stupid or corrupt and stupid. So those of us who are serious about it, we're writing headlines in our souls, right? We're saying, I'm going to be the best version of this that I can be, and maybe I won't get what everyone else gets, but I'll get to be who I want it to be, and I'll be that version of the person making a difference. I'll be that superhero to myself.
Dr. Norm Conti is the Pierre Chauvert Endowed Chair in Mission in the Department of Sociology at Duquesne University. He's my friend, and he does still have long hair. Norm, thank you for joining me here on News Radio KDKA.
Always a pleasure, buddy. See you at Eaton Park.
I will see you later on today, and then I'll see you at Eaton Park.
See you there, buddy.
Thank you, kind sir. God bless. Hey, folks, 866-391-1020. When I come back after the break, I'm going to talk to somebody that wrote a book about porn. Get your minds out of the gutter. I'm talking about climate porn. I'm talking about author Kevin Mooney in his new book, Climate Porn, How and Why Anti-Population Zealots Fabricate Science While Targeting American Capitalism, Freedom, and Independence. He's also a senior fellow at Commonwealth Foundation. Disclosure, I'll talk to him after the break and after the news on News Radio KDKA.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Been 30 time, would have been 30, no, would have been 30, being 30, been 29. If that'll help, been 29,000.
Get ready to bid on the equipment you need in the Ritchie Brothers Northeast Regional Auction on May 5th. Inventory is housed at locations in Pittsburgh, North Franklin, and Northeast Maryland, with in-person inspections available. Bid on a wide selection of construction and transportation equipment. Don't miss this great opportunity. Visit rbauction.com/Pittsburgh to sign up. Again, that's rbauction.com/Pittsburgh.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Is your roof ready for April rain? Call Home Genius Exteriors now and get 50% off all roofing materials with 0% APR and no payments till 2027. Plus, get free gutters with your new roof. Call now to schedule your free, no-obligation roof and attic inspection from one of our experts. Call Home Genius Exteriors now at 855-U-R-GENIUS. That's 855, the letter U, the letter R, Genius. See website for details.
Allegheny County is looking for poll workers to work the election on May 19th. Poll workers earn $150 to $175 for the day plus paid training. For more info and to apply, visit AlleghenyVotes.com. That's AlleghenyVotes.com.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA, covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn. Iran is proposing a deal to end the war, but President Trump isn't confident it will fly. CBS's Wendy Gillette reports.
Semi-official Iranian news outlets said a 14-point proposal was sent via Pakistan in response to a 9-point U.S. proposal.
If we left right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild. But we're not leaving right now. We're going to do it so nobody has to go back in 2 years or 5 years.
The president said he would review the proposal, but he can't imagine it would be acceptable, adding they have not yet paid a big enough price for what they have done. The Strait of Hormuz remains closed and gas and oil prices continue to rise. Chevron CEO and Chairman Mike Wirth told Face the Nation what needs to be done for prices to come down.
What's really needed is for flow to resume through the Strait of Hormuz. You can't take 20% of the energy
energy out of the system. And so that's the key thing, is to restore that flow. It allows markets to begin to rebuild these inventories. It allows us to get products to where they're needed and to alleviate some of the pressure.
There's an intense search for 2 American troops missing in Morocco. CBS's Chris Livesay is there.
We were in our tents yesterday evening when a base-wide head count was conducted. Helicopters were heard throughout the night as the search was underway. And this morning we observed more helicopters as well as planes and drones where the Sahara Desert meets the Atlantic Ocean.
Now the service members were believed to be hiking. No foul play is suspected. A respiratory virus has killed at least 3 people on a cruise ship in the Atlantic Ocean. The BBC's Debbie Russ describes efforts to save the 3rd victim.
The vessel was travelling from Ushuaia in Argentina to Cape Verde, with the ship close to the coast of South Africa. The patient, a British national, was taken to Johannesburg for treatment. The South African Health Ministry say they tested positive for hantavirus.
At the Vatican today, Pope Leo celebrated World Press Freedom Day.
Ricordiamo I numerosi giornalisti.
He urged the faithful to remember the journalists and reporters who have lost their lives pursuing the truth, particularly in areas afflicted by conflicts. A movie sequel tops the box office this weekend. The Devil Wears Prada 2 is projected to earn around $75 to $80 million in the U.S. and up to $180 million globally. That's one of the biggest openings of the year so far. The film reunites stars Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway nearly 20 years after the original film. Now, with The Devil Wears Prada moving into that top spot at the box office this weekend, that moves the Michael Jackson biopic called Michael slipping down to 2nd place. This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world. I'm Tony. There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers. How are you? I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening News.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code MONEY to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money, so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code MONEY to borrow up to $10,000. Use code MONEY to borrow up to $10,000.
Shakira shook her hips on Copacabana Beach last night.
Rio's mayor said 2 million partygoers were on the iconic waterfront to see Shakira on a massive stage in her biggest concert ever. This beach has hosted some of the biggest divas in pop in recent years. Madonna drawing 1.6 million in 2024. Lady Gaga, 2.1 million fans last year. For the fans, a chance to revel in Shakira's biggest hits. For Rio de Janeiro, parties are big business, and even if the concert was free, all those fans were expected to generate over $160 million in revenue. Michael Toscano, CBS News.
Chipotle is launching a limited-time Power Up Happy Hour where you can get tacos for only $2.50 each between 2 and 5 in the afternoon. It's being tested in Kansas City, Orlando, and Tampa. The company says they're targeting when our stomachs start grumbling in between meals. The program could expand nationwide if it's popular. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Life is a way of throwing out curveballs that can make it feel impossible to get ahead. But at Peoples, we know that sometimes a helping hand can make all the difference. If you're struggling to make ends meet or just need a little support with your natural gas bills, we're here to help. Because let's face it, you have enough on your plate. Learn more about our customer assistance programs at peoples-gas.com/help.
Support St. Anthony school programs and help students with special needs achieve their full potential through inclusive education, therapy sessions, and job skills development. Serving students ages 5 through 21 with Down syndrome, autism, and other intellectual disabilities. Find St. Anthony school programs within select Catholic schools in the Pittsburgh area, including a post-secondary program at Duquesne University. For over 70 years, they have empowered students of all faiths to live independently independently and contribute meaningfully to society. Learn more or donate at StAnthonyKids.org.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Sun mixing with clouds this afternoon, the high 58. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 49. Breezy and warmer tomorrow, partly sunny, high 71. And then mostly cloudy Tuesday with a thunderstorm in the area, high 75. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Now, as I said, Kevin Mooney and I have worked together, have vibed together, had an opportunity to see him at the Pennsylvania Leadership Conference, and he is the author of the new book, Climate Porn: How and Why Anti-Population Zealots Fabricate Science While Targeting American Capitalism, Freedom, and Independence. Kevin, thank you for joining me here on News Radio KDKA.
Hey, I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Tell me, generally speaking, somebody reads that headline and they go, okay, this sounds like a guy that's on the right, that's exaggerating the impact that being, climate change, team climate change, if you will, for lack of a better phrase. This guy seems to be exaggerating the impact of what this is having on American culture, American economics, and the like. But your book is all about pushing back against that notion. So talk a little bit about how and why the push from the climate change folks has a imbalanced impact on our society.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of different angles here, and forget about left and right for a minute. Let's all be united in celebrating the American founding period, which we're up against here on July 4th, 250 years of American independence. One reason why I saw an opening for this book is I do see some encouraging incremental steps to restore American independence. That began, I think, with getting out of the Paris Climate Agreement, which right from the beginning was an anti-constitutional, anti-American initiative designed to constrain American energy initiatives. But even more than that, was designed to empower international unelected bureaucrats with the ability to impose energy taxes on the American people. We're all familiar with that phrase, no taxation without representation. Getting out of that Paris Agreement, I think, is one of the signature achievements of the Trump administration and a huge step forward in terms of restoring American independence and sovereignty. So, to answer your question, I think the book has broad appeal because it's a celebration of America's founding. We were sitting just on the edge of losing that independence, and I think hopefully we're moving back in the other direction now.
Let's talk about the myth, Kevin, if you will. And I know you've done the research on this over the years because you and I have talked about this while we were colleagues, let alone after, we've gone our separate ways, but still keep in touch when we see each other at conferences. There's this myth that if you are, let's say, pro-natural gas, that you're anti-climate. That if you're pro-fossil fuel, you're anti-trying to do it in a way that is not going to poison everybody. There's this either-or perspective. But I know that your work goes after the mislabeling of what American ingenuity can do to bring about energy independence, bring about, a better way of life economically, while at the same exact time doing things responsibly. Talk a little bit about how that quote-unquote climate porn gets in the way of people understanding how things actually play out.
Yeah, well, these terminologies get thrown around. I would say the people who support natural gas development are the genuine environmentalists, the genuine pro-climate people, if you want to put it in those terms. Natural gas really has no emissions, if that's what concerns you so much. And thanks to American ingenuity, it can be accessed cheaply and effectively, raise living standards for people in rural areas and all across the country. It has a huge impact on making us more energy independent from dangerous and unreliable sources. But let's just look at sort of the environmental question for a minute. You juxtapose the infrastructure and logistics with natural gas development, put that against wind and solar, for example, and there's really no comparison. It's the wind and solar that have a huge environmental impact, that despoil the environment, that lead to pollution, not natural gas. I mean, there's always a proper way to do things, but natural gas is a winner both economically and environmentally. It is the greenest of energy forms. So I think right away we need to sort of recalibrate this whole conversation.
I'm talking to Kevin Mooney, author of Climate Porn: How and Why Climate Porn: How and Why Anti-Population Zealots Fabricate science while targeting American capitalism, freedom, and independence. I'm going to focus on, Kevin, the targeting, and I'm going to separate the next two words, and I want you to talk about each aspect of that, if you will. Targeting capitalism. Tell me a little bit about how those zealots are going after capitalism with their rhetoric, with the types of things that they're doing or advocating from a public policy perspective.
Well, yeah. Well, right from the beginning, this has always really been about an attack on the whole free market system and about controlling people. Capitalism raises living standards, creates more opportunities. The climate movement, right from the beginning, I think has been about attacking this capitalist system and trying to collectivize all of our approaches to economic policies. I think it began with the United Nations and the European Union in many ways, as I discuss in the book. There was a push to have credit cards track your carbon footprint, if you will, so that if you ran up too many carbon points, you would have your credit card cut off. You wouldn't be able to travel or move around or do anything, because the idea is that humanity is a blight to the planet, which I think the absolute reverse of that is true. I think it's human ingenuity that can help make the planet a better place, and in fact is making the planet a better place. The whole drive against capitalism, I don't think can be separated against the attacks on human population. So anytime there's more economic freedom, there's less latitude for centralized planners to exert control over free people. And I think that's ultimately comes down to two very divergent worldviews. I think that's really what's at stake here.
Let's go to the other side of that, Kevin. Let's go to the targeting American, and less American, but America. Because as we have often heard over the years, there's a standard for, in essence, the NATO powers, Western Europe, in regards to what the approach to fossil fuel should be. And then there's what you have in India. There's what you have in China. You have these other bad actors that it seems as though the United States is, in some instances, bent itself over backwards to try to meet some of these standards, while the very countries we compete against for jobs and for industry, countries, by the way, the two that I named, have 3 times as many people as we do. They're not holding up their end of the bargain and yet asking the United States to do more. So let's talk a little bit about the targeting America aspect of the quote-unquote climate porn.
Yeah, well, I think right from the beginning it was a very anti-American movement. You just think about it for a minute. Anytime you want to pass a major climate initiative, whether it's done nationally, internationally, it's always been done in these anti-democratic ways. Under the Obama administration, they bypassed the U.S. Senate to have us join what was essentially an international treaty, the Paris Agreement. Now, they described it as something other than a treaty, but that really wasn't accurate. It was something that right from the beginning deserved U.S. Senate approval. But that's just a way to bypass our democratic institutions and empower international bureaucrats. Go down to the local level in places like Pennsylvania and other New England and Midwestern states that were part of the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. Former Governor Wolf did the same thing locally. He tried to bypass his General Assembly in order to impose energy taxes, all in the name of some unsubstantiated climate emergency. So right from the beginning, the whole view of government's role is diametrically opposed to the whole idea of the American founding, that we have a separation of powers and that government's role is limited in particular. The climate movement turns that upside down and works from the beginning to empower centralized planners. So that we the people really have no voice, that we have top-down approaches to public policy. So I think the climate kind of slogan has gotten away of really what's at stake here. If you look what this movement advocates, number one, none of it is good for the climate or the environment as it's described in the dictionary, but it is very good for centralized planners who want to undercut constitutional limited government.
Kevin, tell me the so what for the everyday American that's hearing about your book. And again, the name of the book, folks, out there is Climate Porn, How and Why Anti-Population Zealots Fabricate Science While Targeting American Capitalism, Freedom, and Independence. I'm talking to my colleague over from the Commonwealth Foundation, Kevin Mooney. Kevin, let me ask about this. So if somebody's listening to this, and a lot of the stuff in regards to freedom and ways of life and things along those lines, some people may say, okay, that's nice. I don't know if I'm really focusing on that as much. Why does the message of this book resonate? Why should I go buy this book? What types of everyday things do you touch upon that are going to impact Americans, whether it's the price of their lights or the price of their gas or whatever else, when it comes to dealing with this quote-unquote climate porn? What's the everyday cost for this battle that you're taking on with your book?
Yeah, well, you've asked a very important question. I'm going to put it in sort of follow the money terms. A little bit of good news that I certainly try to flesh out in this book is that you do see a broad cross-section of average Americans coming together to reclaim the mantle of genuine conservation and environmentalism. I see that up and down the East Coast in this battle against offshore wind, where average everyday Americans are coming together to fight these boondoggles that are going to destroy beachfront property, damage the ecology, damage the environment, and they find what's sitting on the opposite side of the table opposing them are the self-described well-funded climate groups that are all bought and paid for by the wind industry and also foreign interests that really have no interest in anything that is ecologically sound and have all the interest in lining their own pockets and despoiling beach communities and property values and small businesses. So I think in terms of your everyday approach, it's a variation of an old story. You have well-heeled, well-organized public interests trying to step on average people. I would say the good news, though, is that there's been a little bit of an awakening and that we do see folks from across party lines, across state lines, who are coming awakened to the idea that the climate movement as such has nothing to do with traditional environmentalism and everything to do with very damaging special interests. And it's a fight that can be won despite all the money in the organization that sits on the other side of the table. And it's a fight that's been joined recently, and I think it's a fight that right now we're winning, but I don't know if it's something that's sort of just a speed bump along the way to the end of the republic, or if it's a more permanent and enduring, lasting change. That's a question I can't answer right now.
Kevin, before I let you go, what's the takeaway for the reader of your book? What is, whether it's a call to action, 3 significant action items or 3 significant items to remember, what are the things that people need to know moving forward so that America can be optimized as we continue to go through this cycle?
Yeah, well, I'll give you one very big takeaway. And like I say, because I've lived in New Jersey so long, it's hard for me to be optimistic about anything. But you look at the big picture and see what's happening across the country. We've had some very powerful, potent Supreme Court decisions recently scaling back this unelected, unaccountable administrative state that is built up partly in the name of the climate movement. The Biden administration called it the all of the above or all inclusive approach to climate, where every federal agency had to have some kind of climate initiative. The Trump administration is fortunately turning that upside down. And with the big boost from decisions overturning the Chevron doctrine, which made the judiciary more deferential to administrative agencies, the Loper decision, just to name a few, I would say the average American has a huge opportunity to go to their elected official and say, it's way past time for you guys to start reclaiming your legislative authority so that we, the people, can restore constitutional government, and this unaccountable, extra-constitutional fourth branch of government can be dismantled. I would say that's the big action item.
The book, Climate Porn, How and Why Anti-Population Zealots Fabricate Science While Targeting American Capitalism, Freedom, and Independence. Kevin, where can people find the book, sir?
Oh, they can go on Amazon, Books A Million, and some other smaller sites. But I would say Amazon's probably the best place you can get it, and I encourage everybody to do so.
Kevin Mooney, thank you for joining me here on News Radio KDKA, kind sir.
Thanks so much.
No problem at all. Hey, folks, phone lines are going to be right back open, 866-391-1020, 866-391-1020. Nothing like hoping that you didn't give the wrong phone number for the other station you worked at 20 years ago. Would I possibly do that? No, I'm just kidding. Maybe. That said, 866-391-1020. Hit me up. Phone lines are opening back up. I'll catch up to you after the break on News Radio KDKA.
Your source for official traffic information. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Spring savings continue at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, great on the grill, ahi tuna steaks are $9.99 a pound. In the produce department, Haas variety avocados are $5 for $5. In the deli, Garden Fresh Pico de Gallo, 12-ounce packages, $3.99 each. And additional savings this week, selected varieties Totino's tortilla chips, 10 to 12-ounce bags, 2 for $7.
Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned, That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
And Doug.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game.
Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug!
Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down.
Hey!
Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
If you own a small business, the pressure never lets up. Something's always coming at you. That's why business owners turn to LendSeek for funding.
I don't need promises. I need options. LendSeek's AI platform showed me real funding choices. Now I can cover payroll, handle taxes, and go after growth opportunities without the daily stress.
Up to $5 million with funding in as fast as 24 hours. No upfront costs. No prepayment penalties. Start ready, stay ready. LendSeek.com. LendSeek.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
All right, let me go back to the phone lines. 866-391-1020. Dave in San Francisco. You're on KDK. Dave in San Francisco. Let's try it again. Dave in San Francisco. You're on KDK.
Oh, much better. Yeah, I missed the beginning of the interview, but boy, I tell you, what a scoundrel that last interview was. It cracked me up.
Why do you have to call him a scoundrel? Whoa. That's not name call. Just say you disagree with him. You don't have to call him a scoundrel. I don't call you a scoundrel. I'm like, and here's that scoundrel from San Francisco, Dave. And hey, Dave, you're on KDK.
I've been called worse, but
I don't do that.
Yeah, but he called every environmental group on the take, and then he said it was on the take from, I don't know, I can't even think of what his so-called innuendo was, but the idea that people, you know, if somebody's a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew, God told us to be stewards of the earth. Right? So we're supposed to look out for the earth. We're supposed to clean up the earth. We're supposed to clean up after ourselves. And the big polluters don't want us to do it. And,
but I don't, well, hold on. Hold on. No. See, in that regard, Dave, I think that he wasn't necessarily saying don't do that. I think what he was saying was, if anything, there's such a reaction to frighten people about how the approach should be that he's calling it beyond the pale. He's calling it imbalanced. That's at least what I got from it. He didn't say that, we shouldn't do these things. In fact, one of the things he brought up was the fact that people that are into natural gas, they take a different approach that has less of a harmful impact on infrastructure and is much cleaner when it comes to emissions than other fossil fuels. He brought that up as an example, talking about how you can be a good steward with technology while at the same exact time not shutting everything down to go pure wind and solar. That was an example he brought up just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, but he didn't tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And in fact, when I was a little kid, my parents had a coal-fired furnace in the basement. My first job as a little kid, I was like 5 years old. I was supposed to shovel the coal into the hopper to make sure that we were able to be warm through the night with the coal-fired furnace. And it was the nastiest, awfulest. Whenever we would have a snow, our yard would be a gray snow that would melt early. And the beauty of winter would be tarnished by our smokestack.
But where are you going, David? Where are you going with it?
Well, and so we went natural gas, and oh boy, it was clean. But the reality is that burning rocks or burning gas creates CO2, which is making the earth hotter, and all of the weather patterns are changing because the CO2 has risen from 250 parts per million, and now the entire world is closing in on 400 parts per million.
David, even what I brought up, which was there's an argument to be made that we could do more, but is we, the United States, or is we, the whole world? Because when it comes to some of these agreements, which is what Kevin Mooney was pushing back against, we does not always mean a global society, because we know we have bad actors, two of which have 3 times the population that we do, that don't necessarily follow in the footsteps that we're trying to put out there to be better stewards of the earth. And I got to say this and let you retort really quickly. I got to go. You got 30 seconds.
Well, the we is the issue. When the Republicans started selling our jobs over to China, and then now they're trying to blame China for being the polluters, that is a big ugly.
Hold on, Dave. I got to let you go on that because one, I got to go to break. Number 2, NAFTA was a Bush-Clinton thing that Clinton took a whole lot of credit for. All that stuff happened in the 1990s. It brought about Ross Perot, as we well know. Look at this chart. Came about because of that sucking sound going down south. So this was something that everybody thought was a good thing in the 1990s, not just Republicans. 866-391-1020, Dick, Cynthia, Brian, others. I'll get to you after the news on News Radio KDKA.
No use denying it. Old Man Winter's been hard on our homes. If it's drafty windows, overflowing gutters, rotted trim, or that dreaded leaking roof, PJ Fitzpatrick can take care of your home repair project before it turns into costly structural damage. Don't keep putting it off. This is the best time to call the repair experts at PJ Fitzpatrick. No job too big or too small. They'll fix it right the first time. Visit trustpj.com.
The birds are singing, the flowers are in bloom, the sun is shining. What more can we ask for? Maybe to feel great and be the best version of ourselves. This is Dr. Shufo from the Weight Loss and Wellness Center. Isn't it time to take care of ourselves now? We put it off during the cold, dark, dreary days of winter. But it's time now. Get rid of that extra weight, which affects our movement, our physical health, and yes, affects our mental and emotional health. Have more self-confidence and self-esteem. Be happy, be healthy, be alive. Call me at 1-800-900-THIN.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Hearing the news every day is one thing. Hearing it hit home is something altogether different. That's the difference you hear every day on KDKA Radio. We go beyond the benign headlines and bring the news to life. Your life. So stay here and hear the news and what a difference it makes. 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
CBS News Brief. Iran is out with a new proposal to end the war, but President Trump isn't optimistic. Here's CBS's Wendy Gillette.
He posted online about the proposal, writing, "Can't imagine that it would be acceptable in that they have not yet paid a big enough price for what they have done to humanity and the world over the last 47 years.
The president insists gas and oil prices will sharply drop as soon as the war's over. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent agrees, telling Fox.
We can see in the futures market that oil prices are already lower 3 months, 6 months, 9 months out.
Spirit Airlines is done. The budget flyers run out of money. The company blames the soaring fuel costs due to the war. This former employee says it's going to impact everyone looking for flights.
It's going to be tough for passengers nowadays. Prices are going to spike on every airline.
CBS News Brief. I'm Stacey Lynn.
Planning for retirement isn't easy. If you don't know where to start, join Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors every Saturday at 1 for the Net Worth Financial Hour. Beth shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 1 to the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors. Net Worth Advisors, LLC, is a registered investment advisor.
Save $2 when you buy 2 cans of Superior Products Coverall Tire Dressing. Plus, get 4 times O-Rewards points now at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
Tune in this Sunday morning at 8 for the Coons Cooking Hour with Rob Pratt and the Coons Market team when they discuss how to celebrate Mom on Mother's Day. It's the Coons Cooking Hour, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer.
When you invite a contractor into your home, you got to trust they know what they're doing. You want to feel good. That's why CertaPro Painters and me have gotten along for more than a decade. Hi, this is Larry Richard. Take advantage of getting the most professional job you can and know that each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in our community. Schedule your pre-estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, and take advantage of the spring sales event for 10% off qualifying projects through May 15th.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of adults, both men and women, suffer from varicose or spider veins. And this is not just a cosmetic problem. If left untreated, varicose veins can lead to severe swelling, cramping, heavy bleeding, the inability to stand or walk, neuropathy, permanent paralysis, and worst case, blood clots, which can be life-threatening. But here's the good news. USA Vein Clinics offer plans that treat and cure the condition, not just cover up the problem. And the procedure is fast and simple. Grab your phone, take down this number, and call 800-452-0119. That's 800-452-0119. When you call, you'll get free information on how you can live your life to the fullest again. Walk, exercise, sleep well. Your varicose vein problems will not go away on their own. Call USA Vein Clinics today for free information on fast and easy solutions covered by most insurance, including Medicare. Call 800-452-0119. That's 800-452-0119. Call 800-452-0119 today.
Furnished by IntelliBrands. Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Get an Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact. Improve your flexibility and balance, strengthen and tone your legs.
My joints feel better, my knees feel better, my back feels better, and it makes me feel stronger too.
My circulation is moving. I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
It's so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. And for a limited time, get a free upgrade to our deluxe bundle with a faster motor, sport mat, and wireless remote. Call 800-555-1212. That's 800-555-1212. 800-555-1212 now. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Sun mixing with some clouds this afternoon. The high 58, mostly cloudy tonight, low 49, breezy and nicer tomorrow, partly sunny I-71, maybe a thunderstorm Tuesday, I-75. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
Going through a big weekend? Yep. We'll get there to Monday. And when Monday hits, for sure, I'll be back. It's going to be fantastic. With you 2 to 6 on Monday. Join me then. Colin Dunlap right here, KDK.
You can join Colin 2 to 6 tomorrow in Monday through Friday. You can join Marty before that 10 to 2. Not just tomorrow, but Monday through Friday. You can join Larry Richard before him 5:30 to 10. Not just tomorrow, but Monday through Friday. But only on Mondays. Only on Mondays. Hear me out. You already know where I'm going, but still hear me out. Only on Mondays can you get me from 8 to 9 with Larry Richard on the Big K Morning Show. I will be here tomorrow. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury. Scratch that last one. Go with the first two. Anywho, I'll be here 8 to 9, Big K Morning Show. Make sure you tune in. I'm certain we'll talk about politics. I am certain about that. I don't know if we're going to talk about a Venn diagram of one. I know that Larry's aware of the Medved interview, which, I mean, again, Larry's been in media for years, so he kind of knows all the muckety-mucks. He probably has him on speed dial. Yes, Mikey and I went to dinner last week. Knowing Larry. Larry knows everybody. But Larry's cool like that. The only way you know everybody is if you're cool like that. Because you can be aware of people or they know you, and that's when they go, oh, Larry, yeah. It's either that or, oh, Larry's my guy. Larry's that type. He's more the latter than the former, certainly. In fact, not more of. He is all of the latter, not the former. Which is why I'll be on with him 8 to 9 tomorrow morning, because he's Larry, not Larry. So make sure you're tuning into the Big K Morning Show here on News Radio KDK. In the meanwhile, 866-391-1020. Jumping back to the phone lines. These are hard days, man. The first 3 days of the month in the summer are rough. I do it. I will always do it. I've been doing it for 30 years, believe it or not. It'll be 30 years in November. But it's not that hard. In the wintertime, sunset is 4:30, 4:45, 5 o'clock. You could do that even when you're on the air. However, starting in May through August, I will be on the air the whole time, and then you still have 2 hours. You can't eat anything. But I do it. I love doing it. I'm very thankful to do it, and I do it out of Thanksgiving. But, yeah, it's May 3rd, and I'm feeling it. Just putting it out there. Anywho, back to the phone lines. Dick and Dayton, you're on KDK.
Well, Larry, good to talk to you today.
Good to talk to you, kind sir.
I got a question. Yeah, I got a question I wanted to tell you. I've always been a big fan of CBS News, you know, when Nora Donald was there and Walter Cronkite. But I like this new guy there now. They're doing something at the end about some of the heroes here in America and the states and things. But there's something that I didn't understand is, the President Trump is traveling a lot, though. But why would this be the third attempt on his life? Are they planning this ahead, or somebody see this on TV and radio?
No. So you got to count Butler. You got to count the one in Florida, which was not as publicized, but it happened, and then the one at the Correspondence Center. Those are the three. In fact, there are some people that were saying 4, and I was like, okay, where did you get the fourth one from? They're not gremlins. You don't pour water on them after midnight, and then boom. So, but those are the three.
Those are the three. But do you think, in the way sometimes people get off, it does this stuff, but there is a justice system, but is the justice system, I know they got to protect the president, but, every time he goes somewhere now, I'm just worried that they're going to get him, maybe shoot at him or something.
You can do that with every president. I mean, that's why they have Secret Service. You can do that with every. I mean, people forget. Yeah. Abraham Lincoln dressed as a woman for part of his train ride into Washington, D.C. That was in 1861. Right. Yeah, so but because of the political violence of the times, and because of the tension of the times, because of the economic issues of the times, you're going to have these threats. I mean, again, the governor of Pennsylvania had his house firebombed. You've had other issues. We've had, Congresswoman Gabby Giffords got shot in the head. That was 15 years ago. Yeah. We've had presidential candidates shot in this late 60s. So I'm not worried about them getting him because that's always been a threat. I'd like to think that the people are going to be good at their jobs to make sure that elected officials can be made safe, especially those that are in executive positions that do get a little bit of detail that accompanies them, that is paid for by taxpayer dollars. So I understand your concern, Dick, but I don't worry more now because this is something I've always thought about in regards to people that need the protection and how we need to, lower the temperature so that people aren't taking pop shots at people, literal pop shots.
Well, here in Ohio, your election's coming up, and
Tuesday.
I don't think. It's going to be. I think against the wine is. I think the A.B. Acton and this other guy. So I'm going to probably go there. But I used to like Governor DeWine, but I don't.
Well, DeWine's term limited out, so he cannot run. Vivek Ramaswamy is going to be on the ballot in regards to trying to win the GOP nomination to be the next governor of the state of Ohio.
Oh, I don't know much about him, but I was just curious about that. Thanks a lot, Lenny.
No problem at all, Dick. Thank you very much. Vivek Ramaswamy, very, very fast talker. I guess he's he's smooth in talking, but a smooth talker leads you to a really good place with the smooth talking. If you're just smooth while talking, you can run your words together very well. You can tell that it's obvious that you're very intelligent. And then when you get to the conclusion, and this is why you got to use dirt to make a mud pie. You have to literally use Georgia dirt to make a Georgia mud pie. You're like, you said all these wonderful things about Georgia and how delicious pie is. And your conclusion is I got to go get a scoop of dirt to put into a Georgia mud pie? You wouldn't even understand. You're from Pennsylvania. I know I'm not supposed to be eating red clay. And that's kind of what Vivek likes to do sometimes. He'll talk about civil rights for everybody and then explain why people that have been pushed to the periphery of society for 100 years should stay there. They wanted to be on the periphery of society. Yes, black people without the right to vote voted for Jim Crow while they were swinging from trees. This is, and you know what I mean by swinging by trees. I'm not talking about your stereotypical swinging from trees like Tarzan. I'm talking about swinging from trees from a rope. In the South, Vivek. He's the type that would do that. We need to stand for liberty, but what about gay Americans that are discriminated against? Well, they shouldn't be gay. Wait a minute. That's an opinion. You, as an elected official, should you win, should be pushing for constitutional protections for all Americans. Their self-determinative pursuit of happiness, irregardless of your opinion. Well, that's just wrong. That's kind of how Vivek argues. And then he tries to talk fast over you, really fast. And that's where he tries to confuse you. Those are people you have to just kind of like look at and just kind of slow them down, let them talk, then surgically and tactfully annihilate their argument. Precision strike. Boom. But, we'll see what ends up happening on Tuesday with him. 866-391-1020. Going to Cynthia in Florida. In fact, Cynthia, hold on. I see a stop sign. I kind of saw the yellow light and it turned red real fast. So I hit the brakes. I'm going to go to break. Then I'm going to come back to Cynthia, then Brian, then others. 866-391-1020. I'm sitting at the traffic light, Cynthia. I haven't gotten out of the car, so don't go nowhere. I'll be coming right back on News Radio KDKA.
Every Tuesday morning at 7:20, listen for Inside Independence Health, a look at all things healthcare with the experts from Independence Health System. It's brought to you by Independence Health System. Expert care here.
Andy Amrine here for Harmony Garden Organic Insect Control. This is not your average garden variety insect killer. Harmony is your only insect control you need for your garden. Nothing is safer, nothing works better than Harmony. Spray your trees, flowers, plants to kill garden pests including aphids, green fruit worms, mites, soil lice, and russets. To get your bottle of Harmony, ask for it at any participating True Value hardware store or online at harmonyoic.com.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Get ready for Pour at the Park at South Park, a fundraiser for the Allegheny County Parks Foundation on Saturday, May 16th in South Park. Enjoy beer, cider, and spirit tastings, delicious food trucks, live entertainment by Z-Town Street Band, and fabulous raffle baskets. Plus, bring your family. Your kids will love the discovery activities with Coach Dave. All proceeds benefit the 9 Allegheny County parks. New to Rivers Casino? Join now and earn up to $1,000 free slot play. Stop by Rush Rewards on your next visit to start earning today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Pittsburgh's favorite food event is back on May 28th. Join Pittsburgh Magazine's Best Restaurants Party, featuring bites from the city's top restaurants. Don't miss this ultimate tasting event. Get your tickets now at pittsburghmagazine.com/BR Party.
Details at kdkaradio.com.
It's that time of year again. Be Greek for a week at the St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Cathedral Food Festival in Oakland, Tuesday through Sunday. All of your favorite Greek foods and desserts. Outdoor seating too. Dine in or take out. Opa!
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account. When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything. Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
You just testified under oath you're getting more fiber in your diet, and it was easy. Where is this additional fiber coming from?
Mira Fiber Gummies.
Objection!
It's true. Mira Fiber has 8 grams of fiber to help me get the fiber I need in a day, plus 4 B vitamins for metabolism support. All in one serving.
Overruled.
My gut rests its case.
Oh, that's my line.
Find Mirafiber today at your local retailer from the makers of Miralax. Mirafiber supports metabolism of carbs, fats, and proteins. Serving size is 4 gummies.
Ms. Fernandez, what are those tiny things?
Those are what we call amoebas. You can only see them through a microscope.
Wow.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, there's a funding crisis in public schools. Millions of kids go to schools that don't have funding for books, computers, and so much more just because of where they live. You can help change that. Donors Choose is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. You choose which supplies to support. You could provide first graders with pencils and paper, or other students with their first chapter books, help a music class get a guitar.
You could even supply a classroom like mine with a science project. But what you're really giving is the moment that sparks a brighter tomorrow.
To learn more, please visit DonorsChoose.org. That's DonorsChoose.org. Choose students. Shape the future.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
All right, let me jump back to this phone line. Like I said, the lights turned green, Cynthia. You're now on KDKA.
I'll be quick. To Dick about Trump, they ignored their dog. The man was in an unsecured room. The dog would say, "Hey, he's in here." They ignored the dog. And let me tell you a funny story. Well, after one of my husbands passed, I rescued a dog and a cat. When they heard something, they would run halfway down the stairs on the landing, and they'd both be peeking at the door, waiting for somebody to dare come in the house.
Yeah.
So don't ignore your pets. And that's what happened at the correspondence dinner. And you mentioned red clay. Years ago, my people were from the South. People there would send, my grandmother was the unofficial doctor in the neighborhood. People would send her red clay, and that was beneficial for pregnant women. I don't know if you can eat it now, but I would help her mix that up, and we'd bake it in little cubes. Any pregnant woman in the neighborhood got red clay because they got it from my grandmother. But anyway, you mentioned Perot. I was his co-chair of his campaign up there. He was opposed to NAFTA. So was I. I was opposed to the World Trade Organization agreements. And when your guest was talking, my issue was savage capitalism. And we see what's happened. We saw what happened to our manufacturing base. And you see these companies now are making massive profits, and they're firing people. Even the people who thought they were.
It's interesting you said savage capitalism because you're putting a caveat on it that people don't always appreciate. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, that's my issue. And I met a guy when I went to the WTO protest out in Seattle. We were all staying in the hotel with a lot of the delegates. As a matter of fact, when all hell broke loose, my father was stuck in the hotel, and I couldn't get back in there till later because I think Madeleine Albright was staying in the hotel. Anyway. A Polish guy said, "Why are you doing this?" I said, "Where are the jobs coming to Poland from?" Well, Germany. I said, "Think about me when the jobs leave Poland. Where in the heck they're going?" I mean, this has happened all over the world, and we have no floor on wages in the world. So we can't help protect our own citizens when, you get my point.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to end by something. Ted called about immigration.
He did.
People need to understand this. Immigrants pay into Social Security they cannot collect. They pay taxes into our system that they cannot collect. So this is not a free ride for these people, and I'm going to end on a funny note.
Well, hold on. No, before you get to the funny note, the point that he's making is, and I agree with this point, citizenship has its privileges. And if you find yourself as a citizen still at the back of the line, what's the point of citizenship? You do have some people that have been pushing for non-citizens to vote in elections, even if they're local elections. Citizenship has its privileges. If you only have
I disagree with.
No, it's either you're a citizen or you're not. You can't go vote in Germany.
Oh, I don't know. They should not vote in our elections.
Oh yeah, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So, but it's just the same. If you're telling me that for effective education, you could only have 33 slots in a classroom, and 4 of those slots get filled. I'm talking about let's say a scholarship program. Let's say it's a award-winning magnet program, and several of those slots are filled by illegally residing individuals. I'm not talking about permanent residents. I'm specifically talking about illegally residing individuals. There's an argument to be made that citizenship has its privileges. And then when you disproportionately talk about the impact of being on the wrong side of things as an African American, there's an argument to be made that, okay, when do we at least finally take care of America's original sin before we get to the xenophobia of the 21st century?
Well, correct. But let me get to my funny point later.
Sure.
But you reminded me of Barbara Jordan. Barbara Jordan was serious about this, and I used to read FAIR all the time. I don't want people coming here taking our places, our jobs. But I also look at what caused people to come here because we've interfered in their countries, and they flee for their lives to come here.
But it's not just but it's not just us interfering, and it's basically the condition of global affairs. Sometimes it's us, sometimes it's not us. Sometimes we're interfering because we're the good guys. Sometimes we're interfering because we're trying to manipulate elections like Iran or other places.
Well, like we usually do.
Well, it's not just, again,
I live here, so I can criticize my government.
We're just disagreeing as Americans. I'm not saying don't criticize them. I don't have to have you on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, so I have you on here. But I also am looking at this and saying, well, yes, we interfered. Do we have to go into Korea? Do we have to go into Vietnam? There's arguments yes and no, but there still was also a Cold War that was going on. There was an argument to be made. Does the United States have to get involved in Europe's war in the early 1940s? And then we were.
I agree with on a level. I agree with that on a level. But when you think about bankers' wars and what brought all that about. But let me get to my funny point because I don't want to take up your whole show. Let people get in. Again, this goes to immigrants. There's this guy that got arrested down here. He's a MAGA influencer named Craig Lang. Or Long, I think his name was. I
think I know where you're going with this. Good.
But Grady Judd, who I love, he's a sheriff in Polk County, and he has this thing called poke around and find out. Now this guy, Lang or Long, whatever his name is, he hates immigrants. He's like, let's get after it, go after them. So he had a press conference, and he said, well, he's not influencing anything here. He's arrested for human trafficking. So I love karma.
Wow. Yeah. Cynthia, you have a wonderful week.
Thank you, brother.
You're quite welcome.
You too.
866-391-1020. Yeah, it's usually the people that stir up the pot. And I don't consider what I'm doing stirring up the pot. I'm trying to bring a level of critical thinking and awareness and unity by way of really sifting through issues and 360-degree accountability. That's different than I'm just going to stir it up because somebody needs to kick the hornet's nest. You kick a hornet's nest, the hornets don't care. They don't chase the foot like, oh, that smelled like a Nike. Let's go chase the guy with the Nike. No, the hornets go everywhere. They sting everybody. That's why people voting for hornet's nest kickers are wondering why we're all stung. Got to go back to people that don't just go around doing stuff just to be doing stuff. Stirring up pots. Not your pot to stir up. 866-391-1020. I see Paul, Brian, George, Luciano, but I will see them more after the news on News Radio KDKA.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Get ready for Pour at the Park at South Park, a fundraiser for the Allegheny County Parks Foundation on Saturday, May 16th in South Park. Enjoy beer, cider, and spirit tastings, delicious food trucks, live entertainment by Z-Town Street Band, and fabulous raffle baskets. Plus, bring your family. Your kids will love the discovery activities with Coach Dave. All proceeds benefit the 9 Allegheny County parks. New to Rivers Casino? Join now and earn up to $1,000 free slot play. Stop by Rush Rewards on your next visit to start earning today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Pittsburgh's favorite food event is back on May 28th. Join Pittsburgh Magazine's Best Restaurants Party, featuring bites from the city's top restaurants. Don't miss this ultimate tasting event. Get your tickets now at pittsburghmagazine.com/BRParty.
Details at KDKARadio.com.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Pittsburgh Speaker Series at Heinz Hall, presented by University of Pittsburgh, announces its 26-27 season. 7 evenings to deepen your understanding of the world around you, featuring Anderson Cooper, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, historian Anne Applebaum, financial journalist Andrew Ross Sorkin, and former NASA Administrator Charles Bolden. The series is sponsored by News Radio KDKA and the Spanos Group of Raymond James. Tickets on sale now at pittsburghspeakers.org.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting. I'm Stacey Lynn. 2 months into the war with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz is still blocked. U.S. Marines seized an Iranian vessel as part of a naval blockade that was imposed on April 13th. Since then, at least 3 ships have been boarded, 48 Iranian-linked vessels have been turned back, and billions of dollars worth of Iranian oil and cargo have been effectively frozen. Here's CBS's Ramy Inocencio.
America became, in its own president's words, a pirate nation.
Who would have thought we were doing that? We're like pirates. We're sort of like pirates.
The world's most critical oil choke point has effectively been shut down. 3,000 ships a month before the war, now to almost none.
That's caused fuel prices to rise. Bank of America says the spike that has cost consumers about $19 billion. But Kevin Hassett, the director of the National Economic Council, disagreed, telling Face the Nation.
Real incomes are growing, and real incomes, when they adjust for inflation, include the price of energy. Real incomes shrunk for almost 8 years under Obama. They shrunk under Biden, and they're rising now despite the short-term increase in gas prices.
Economist Diane Swank told ABC farmers are feeling the pinch.
Farmers are already complaining because, of course, they rely on diesel, but importantly, fertilizers and the chemicals that go into all of our food products out there, and then the transportation costs on top of it. This is something that's very hard on consumers.
To another war and the latest attack on Russia's oil industry. Ukrainian officials say they struck 2 oil tankers just outside a Russian port in the Black Sea. The BBC's Jessica Parker is in Kyiv.
President Zelensky says the 2 tankers were struck near the Black Sea port of Novorossiysk and posted a video online showing a vessel, possibly an unmanned naval drone, approaching the rear of a far larger ship. There are no details about any possible damage caused, but the Ukrainian leader claims the targeted ships are part of the so-called Shadow Fleet, a group of often aging tankers that Russia's accused of using to evade Western oil sanctions. Kyiv sees Russian oil exports as a legitimate target, given such exports help fund Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine.
In Morocco, 2 American service members are missing. CBS's Chris Livesay is there, where there's an intense search going on.
We were in our tents yesterday evening when a base-wide head count was conducted. Helicopters were heard throughout the night as the search was underway. And this morning we observed more helicopters as well as planes and drones where the Sahara Desert meets the Atlantic Ocean.
No foul play is suspected, and what we are hearing now may have been a hiking accident. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here? How is this possible? Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why? It's time for 60 Minutes.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong?
I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code MONEY to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money, so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code MONEY to borrow up to $10,000. Use code MONEY to borrow up to $10,000.
The world's largest steel dragon is now in the upper Midwest.
The Wisconsin Dells is known for its resorts and a lot of kitsch. And now there's one more piece at the gates of the Delshire Resort, which opens on May 10th. You'll like it if you're into Game of Thrones or Dungeons and Dragons. There's now a 70-foot-long steel fire-breathing dragon that is the largest steel fabricated dragon in the world. Sculptor Kevin Stone says he put a lot into this one.
It feels a little bit of respite, but, it's also put other projects behind. So now I got to go back and crank on those.
Word is Goldspar will sit on a hilltop breathing fire about every 20 minutes. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
A massive asteroid is set to make a rare close pass by Earth in 2029. The space rock, known as Apophis, will fly within about 20,000 miles of the planet, closer than many satellites in orbit. The asteroid is roughly the size of the Eiffel Tower and will be visible in some parts of the world. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Sun mixing with clouds this afternoon, the high 58. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 49. Breezy and warmer tomorrow, partly sunny, high 71. And then mostly cloudy Tuesday with a thunderstorm in the area, high 75. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli.
After breaking the NFL draft attendance record with over 805,000 fans witnessing the league's annual restocking of talent, Pittsburgh must capitalize on the momentum this created. ESPN and social media were unbelievably complimentary of our city. We received thousands of rave reviews from first-time visitors. The key is to ensure this success is sustained. All of this required a collaborative effort from so many people and organizations. Let's make sure these same people work just as hard attracting other big events and conventions. Continue to keep our city clean. Look for more areas to improve. The momentum is there. Let's make sure we don't simply celebrate the success, but rather we start stacking wins. There is no time like the present.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
All right, let me jump back to the phone lines. 866-391-1020. Lenny McAllister, you and I together, including with the cutest girl in Winter Park, Florida, until 6 o'clock. 866-391-1020. Brian in Munhall, you're on KDK.
Hi, Lenny.
Hello.
Hey, it was good to hear. I enjoyed that diversified topic. What's the author, Kevin Mooney?
Mm-hmm.
Was that correct? Anyway, I'd like to make a couple comments about clean energy and conservation. I'm sorry. We could have both. But here's the drawbacks of wind and or solar. I have heard, and I'm pretty sure it's true, all the wind turbines used in the world, most of them are made in China. Yet China does not use them themselves.
That's one of the things I brought up, Brian, was the fact that we're competing globally from an industrial standpoint against two countries, India and China, that are 3 times as big as we are, that are not playing by the same environmental rules.
Yeah, and now I'm not saying the technologies don't work. Now, the solar arrays, the really big ones, they probably take up as much space or more than an average coal-fired power plant. And they probably don't produce enough megawatts or gigawatts to replace it. But anyway, hey, here's something interesting for you. I just read yesterday. I subscribed to the Epic Times. California is known for conservationists and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Saving wildlife. Well, you know what they want to do on Catalina Island? It's off the coast of Southern California. They want to kill every mule deer on that island. Do you know why?
No, I'd like to read the article, but tell me why.
It's because they eat more rare vegetation. So here we go, Governor Newsom, who lets wildfires burn everything down, and he wants to kill all the deer on that island.
I don't think he lets the wildfires burn everything down. I think that they have a problem with wildfires. They have a problem with arsonists. They have a problem with drought. And
you're right.
So
you're right. Lightning strikes. Hey, here's the other good thing. And the last thing. I live near the Hayes neighborhood in Pittsburgh. And I've been down to that where you can view the eagles there who have a permanent nest. Mm-hmm. I've done that twice. I'm glad that we are conservationists. You know what killed the eagles or decimated them? The DDT. Some birds are more susceptible, and that's why they declined, almost disappeared from our area. You know, eagles eat fish. They will eat any kind of mammal that they're strong enough to carry back to that nest. I'd say they probably ingested the DDT from fish from the rivers. But I'm glad to see that. You know, I'm not against that's great. That's all for today, Lenny.
Brian,
I appreciate it.
I appreciate your call, kind sir. I do. Yeah, there's something to be said about those pesticides. I mean, we're ingesting them, not good. The plastics, we're ingesting them, not good for human beings, not going to be good for animals either. So I have to read that story, which, by the way, it's both the epic and the epoch times. It's funny, I had a conversation with people backstage at PLC last month, and they were like, well, they pronounce it both ways. I'm like, oh, okay. So that said, I'm familiar with the publication. Actually, they have a television station that I appeared on a couple of times. And ironically, and I'm not trying to sound all conspiracy theorist for you all, but this is true. The couple of times I did their television station, they went to commercial break while I'm waiting to go on and do the hit. And it was nothing but like Chinese advertisers. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought Chinese communism was supposed to be the enemy. Why do you got like 5 commercials in a row? Now, if you know the story of the Epoch Times, it's a Chinese national that came to America and discovered the American dream and all that other jazz, if I remember the story correctly. And that's the reason why he started the publication and started the network and all that other jazz. Okay, fine. I can believe in American dream stories from immigrants. I still want to know why there were so many commercials that seem to be talking to Chinese, not Chinese nationals that are living in the United States. Well, let me rephrase. Probably Chinese nationals living in the United States, but still Chinese nationals, not Chinese Americans, which are different. Just something that I noted when I did that. That was a couple of years ago. That was like 23, 24. They're on the programming. They're far right. They go to commercial break and it's like, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. 866-391-1020. If it is, you can call in. In the meanwhile, I'm taking more phone calls. Well, that's the reason why I gave you the 866-391-1020, because I'm going to take more phone calls. I'm going to talk to people like Luciano. Luciano, you're on KDKA.
Thank you, Lenny, for taking my call. Yes, I used to live in California, Southern California, right there, East L.A., West Covina. I hung around and knew many Chicanos, Mexican Americans. Let me just say this, what people out there are not aware of. I found this out from Mexican, and I used to hang out. They knew I was Puerto Rican, but that didn't faze them. How prejudiced, I repeat, how prejudiced historically Mexico has been. Are you aware that the second president of Mexico was Vicente Guerrero? He was a black Mexican. He allowed, this was coming from Chicanos in Southern California, he was assassinated for making black, we call mulattoes or prietos, black Mexicans, free from slavery in Mexico. The second day or the third day he allowed that, he passed a law. He was assassinated and murdered by the Mexican government. He was the president of Mexico. He was a black Mexican, what Latinos call negro or mulatto or prieto, which means black from black descent, African descent. He was murdered. Mexico at this present time still continuously for hundreds of years, thousands of years, are racist towards dark
thousands of years?
Latinos.
Mexico hasn't been around thousands of years, Luciano. I know you're excited.
Hundreds of years.
Okay.
Hundreds of years. Lenny, you're trying. I like you, brother, but when it comes to Latino politics, and I'm Puerto Rican, brother. I know. I've been around El Salvadorian, Nicaraguan, Ecuadorians, and Mexicanos. I speak with them. I speak Spanish. They have told me this, and you look in and they are racist to this present moment. They will not allow blacks to stay in Mexico. They're deporting black Africans from Haiti and Africa. And by the way, my last point is My last point, the people like that love migrants. Do you know that blacks are now 13% of the population? Latinos, what we call Hispanics, what white people call Hispanics, we call them, we like to say Latinos. We make up about 15 to 60% of the United States population. We have surpassed black brothers and sisters in the United States. And what Joe Biden did, contrary to what a lot of blacks are opposing this mass illegal invasion. Finally, black brothers
it's
and
not
sisters are
an invasion, Luciano. You keep
Oh,
using
okay.
that word because it's not an invasion.
I love you to have a conversation with a black brother that takes a different point of view. More blacks. That's why the Chicago mayor is going to lose this election.
He probably
because
will.
of illegal invasion. Because blacks are fed up with what they treat black people like second-class citizens. And the Chicago mayor and New York mayor was kicked out of New York.
Luciano, who is they? Who do they treat? Who is the they that treats African Americans like second-class citizens? I just want to clarify. Who's they?
Who? Like, say that again, please.
Who is the they
I'll say
in your?
This. Latinos, Mexicanos are very racist towards blacks, and anything that is towards black Cubanos, black Puerto Ricans. They hate
Luciano,
black.
Can I ask you a question, child of God?
Yes, go ahead. Forgive me, I get emotional about this. Look, a lot of blacks and whites are ignorant about how racist Latinos are, especially Mexicans. I love black Mexicans, but
Luciano,
Luciano,
hold on.
Go ahead.
I am trying to get to the origin of this. I feel like Smart Brother off of Undercover Brother. Like, can you please give me a list of these things that trigger these fits? That's how I feel. It's like, how did you even get to racism? And it wasn't Smart Brother that said that. It was Undercover Brother that said that to Conspiracy Brother. That said, it tells you how much I've watched that movie, which is probably disturbing. I digress. The question is, how did you get on racism between black Latinos and lighter-skinned Latinos, particularly in Mexico? Please make the point, because I don't think I brought it up today.
I live in California, Southern California, surrounded by a lot of Mexicanos, Mexican Americans, not illegal migrants, Mexican American and American Cubanos that are American citizens. They openly state and historically how blacks are prejudiced towards black people, American blacks too. Mexicans are extremely prejudiced towards black Americans and also Latinos.
But why
that are
we talking? But I'm trying to figure out how this came into the conversation today. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds.
I hear Cynthia always catering and kissing up to these migrant illegals. And she's so, by the way, a lot of Chicanos and Puerto Ricans are opposed to this mass illegal that Joe Biden from here in Pennsylvania calls this mass that does not benefit black brothers and sisters that are American citizens. Blacks are finally waking up. And that's why I love when blacks are saying we oppose the Democratic Party, but what they pull on us, they're trying to displace us. And that's what blacks are saying. I hear them.
Hold on. And I appreciate your phone call, Luciano. They may not be happy with what's transpiring with illegal immigration with the Democratic Party, but they ain't clamoring for the Republican Party right now either. Now, I will say that there's an opportunity for the Republican Party to be a destination for more African American voters, but not with this economy the way it is, not with the Iran war the way it is, not with the assault on the Constitution the way it is, not with the assault on civil rights that we've seen, not with the assault on DEI, which is, again, equity, not switching advantages. It's DEI, not DIA. People seem to miss the whole equity part of DEI. They think it's just reverse racism, quote unquote. We have more people that just got quoted over the last week or so talking about how civil rights were really, really bad for white people and completely ignore the 100 years that were really, really bad for black people, or wait. And prior to that, the 300 years where it was also really, really bad for black people. I mean, literally, it was almost as if black people were in chains back then. Oh, wait. So, again, I just want to make sure we kind of center these conversations and have some perspective, because there are ways to do this without going one way or another. And by the way, I do think that Cynthia was less, quote-unquote, sucking up. I think more she's trying to be empathetic. She's allowed to have that point of view. And I don't understand all the name-calling. I try my best not to do that here. I will disagree with you. I will still call you child of God. I will call you kind sir, thank you, ma'am, all that other stuff. And then send you on your way and have you back next week at 866-391-1020. But if we're going to have these conversations, y'all, I am trying to set a tone. The whole reason why I wrote a Venn diagram of one, again, LennyMcAllister.com, check it out. When you get a chance, pre-order the book, is to talk about what I said at the beginning of the show. Commonalities and diversity. You got to claim them both. You got to embrace them both at the same exact time. And when you embrace them both, commonalities and diversity, which is a wide range, you don't have enough room to have animosity anymore. Commonalities, diversity, not animosity. Let's try to do that with the other phone calls. 866-391-1020. Coming back after the break on News Radio KDKA.
Your source for the AccuWeather forecast. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
When it comes to surgery, trust matters. At Independence Health System, our award-winning surgeons use advanced techniques and technology to deliver safe, precise, and personalized care. We offer minimally invasive options for faster recovery, smaller incisions, and less risk. From hernia repair to bariatric surgery, our skilled team is here for you every step of the way. Learn more at independence.health. Independence Health System. Expert care here.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of adults, both men and women, suffer from varicose or spider veins. And this is not just a cosmetic problem. If left untreated, varicose veins can lead to severe swelling, cramping, heavy bleeding, the inability to stand or walk, neuropathy, permanent paralysis, and worst case, blood clots, which can be life-threatening. But here's the good news. USA Vein Clinics offer plans that treat and cure the condition, not just cover up the problem. And the procedure is fast and simple. Grab your phone, take down this number, and call 800-452-0119. That's 800-452-0119. When you call, you'll get free information on how you can live your life to the fullest again. Walk, exercise, sleep well. Your varicose vein problems will not go away on their own. Call USA Vein Clinics today for free information on fast and easy solutions covered by most insurance, including Medicare. Call 800-452-0119. That's 800-452-0119. Call 800-452-0119 today.
Ready to start thinking like Wall Street without leaving Main Street? Tune in Sunday mornings at 6:30 for a slice of advice with Kelton Burgess. Right here on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
All right, going back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Paul in Sonoma. You're on KDKA. Or, yes. Go ahead, sir. Paul? Sonoma? California? Aruba? Contigo? Those are the Beach Boys. Anyhow. Paul, call back. Didn't get you. George, who's not in California. He's in Clairton, which doesn't have palm trees. You're now on KDK. George. George. All right, now, I know I'm looking at a blue light. I know I'm looking at a red light. I couldn't hear either one of them. So, maybe it's me. Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. But Paul and George, try to call back. I want to hear from you. Phone lines are still open, of course, 866-391-1020. When I come back from the break, now I'll get to the fasting. I did get a chance to send this quote from a Venn diagram of one to Black Pastors United for Education, but I'll get to that eventually. I do want to get to, if I can, what happened at the Supreme Court this week. And I know that, I'm going to start with this, and I know that George and others that are calling it at 866-391-1020, George, I'll get to you in a second because we're going to break shortly. Paul, call back as well. I know people are upset with what transpired at the Supreme Court, and I can understand why. Here's my genuine take on this. If you're going to start going after the Voting Rights Act because you do not want there to be minority-majority districts, what does that mean for those of you that have not heard that phrase either? It's minority-majority or majority-minority. Depends on which one you want to put first. They mean the same thing to me, which is a district that allows for African-American or Latino representation in a certain segment of a state. Because those people were pushed to the periphery of elections and society over the years. If you're going to say that doing that on the basis of race is unconstitutional, and you can apply this to a lot of things, I'm just going to stay with elections for now. If that's the argument you're going to make, you're then making it on an argument foundation that says you cannot draw a congressional map on any special class or group or designation. Take race out of it. How do we draw these congressional maps? How do we draw these district maps? We draw them from a special interest group called political parties, which is what George Washington, the founding father that everybody's going to quote in July, warned us about. You're going to start going after VRA. Get rid of gerrymandering once and for all. Make politicians compete for every vote. Make presidential candidates compete for every state as much as possible. Some states are just going to be red. It's going to be blue. But congressionally, doesn't have to be that way. We have 435 congressional seats. 45 of them, maybe, are going to be competitive this year. And that's the case because a special interest group has drawn the maps. Now, you can't say we don't want to draw it for one special interest group, race, but it's okay to draw it for another special interest group, partisanship. And generally speaking, partisanship generally comes down to two things: your access to power, or your access to money, which gets you access to power. You cannot push back against one special interest group, by the way, one that's been discriminated against for decades, historically, in the country, and then say it's okay to draw the maps via another special interest group. That's number one. And while you're at it, let's find a way to get term limits, too. That would also solve this. Not let people self-interest draw maps and then let them stay in those drawn maps districts for 40 years. That would solve a lot. Coming back after news on News Radio KDKA.
30, time would have been 30, no, would have been 30, being 30, been 29, if that'll help, been 29,000.
Get ready to bid on the equipment you need in the Ritchie Brothers Northeast Regional Auction on May 5th. Inventory is housed at locations in Pittsburgh, North Franklin, and Northeast Maryland, with in-person inspections available. Bid on a wide selection of construction and transportation equipment. Don't miss this great opportunity. Visit rbauction.com/Pittsburgh to sign up. Again, that's rbauction.com/Pittsburgh.
Bring your home back to life with Zero Res, a fresher clean that you can actually feel. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139 and whole home air duct cleaning starting at just $599. Visit ZeroResPGH.com and tell them KDKA sent you.
For generations, you've listened to us in your kitchen, catching baseball games on your front porch, and ending your day as your bedtime buddy. Now, you can watch us every day on your TV with our new KDKA Radio YouTube page or by clicking on KDKARadio.com. It's presented by Metropolitan Windows. Same great content, more live visuals. The voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. The U.S.-Israeli war with Iran is having a major effect on the economy. The head of Minneapolis Fed, Neil Kashkari, tells CBS's Face the Nation.
The price effect, the energy effect and energy prices from the Iran conflict is already by some measures as big or larger than when Russia invaded Ukraine.
President Trump says hostilities with Iran have terminated, though there's no official peace plan yet. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett explained to CBS.
I don't know what the definition of war is when we're not shooting and we're negotiating and they're under a lot of pressure. There's no reason, I think, right now to do anything other than what we're doing.
2 U.S. service members disappeared during a recreational hike in Morocco after participating in military exercises. CBS's Chris Liv say.
Helicopters were heard throughout the night as the search was underway. And this morning we observed more helicopters as well as planes and drones where the Sahara Desert meets the Atlantic Ocean.
CBS News Brief, I'm Heather Bosch.
If you want to know how good it feels to get professional paint work inside your home, go with CertaPro Painters. Hi, this is Larry Richard, and a big opportunity right now. Take advantage of the spring sales event for 10% off qualifying projects through May 15th. And remember, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in our community. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Get ready for Pour the Park at South Park, a fundraiser for the Allegheny County Parks Foundation on Saturday, May 16th in South Park. Enjoy beer, cider, and spirit tastings, delicious food trucks, live entertainment by Z-Town Street Band, and fabulous raffle baskets. Plus, bring your family. Your kids will love the discovery activities with Coach Dave. All proceeds benefit the 9 Allegheny County parks. New to Rivers Casino? Join now and earn up to $1,000 free slot play. Stop by Rush Rewards on your next visit to start earning today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Pittsburgh's favorite food event is back on May 28th. Join Pittsburgh Magazine's Best Restaurants Party, featuring bites from the city's top restaurants. Don't miss this ultimate tasting event. Get your tickets now at pittsburghmagazine.com/BR Party.
Details at KDKARadio.com.
Ouch! Checked from behind. Man, that's gotta hurt.
I'd hire Morgan & Morgan if I were them.
What?
Yeah, Dan, America's largest injury law firm. They serve up justice, ice, cold, law. Know what I mean?
I guess.
Their gloves come off when they fight for you.
Okay.
I'm talking a settlement slapshot.
Shouldn't we be talking about the game?
Yeah, Dan. Morgan & Morgan. Proud sponsor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Offices Pittsburgh.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Celebrate Cinco de Mayo with Easy Cater, the best way to order great food from favorite restaurants for all your festivities. From April 27th through May 5th, every order placed earns you 1,000 bonus rewards points. From traditional favorites like enchiladas and mole to festive options like a build-your-own taco bar, even breakfast. Chilaquiles, anyone? Easy Cater makes food for Cinco de Mayo a cinch. Order now at easycater.com and get 1,000 bonus points on every order with promo code Cinco de Mayo 26. Restrictions apply. See offer details.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
It will turn out mostly cloudy into tonight. We'll get down to 49 for an overnight low. Tomorrow's going to be a breezy, warmer day with intervals of clouds and sun, high 71. More clouds Tuesday, the chance for a thunderstorm, high 75. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Going through a big weekend? Yep. We'll get there to Monday. And when Monday hits, for sure, I'll be back. It's going to be fantastic. With you 2 to 6 on Monday. Join me then. Colin Dunlap right here, KDK.
All right, going back to the phone lines, trying again. George and Clareton, you're on KDK. And you still don't have palm trees in Clareton, do you?
No, I didn't grow any in that little bit of time, but all I can say is Feliz de Mayo. And you know, Lenny, I am a radical and a revolutionist at heart. And when I hear these bland, lily white, pro-capitalist, anti-environment, mocking everyone else, and that's all I hear on this anymore. I mean, almost 100% now. You got me kind of worried today. I really start churning. And I don't think it's the full moon. It was just a couple days ago.
Well, first of all, I've worked with Kevin Mooney, and I mentioned that multiple times. Number 2, he's an author. I was highlighting his book. Number 3, I unlike most people in opinion-driven media, I do try to bring on multiple perspectives. There are some people that would say that Norm Conti is definitely on the left. I mean, he always says when he comes on, you're my second favorite Republican, which seems to indicate that if his mother's number 1 and I'm number 2, he's not on that list because he ain't a Republican. And he's married. He loves his wife. His wife ain't a Republican either, or else she'd be on that list higher than me. So in the course of 45 minutes, I had a left-leaning academic and a right-leaning think tank analyst. Give me some slack, child of God, if you will. I say that facetiously, but also I say that because I say that.
I thought we were going to talk about gas prices because now they're starting to get to me. When I see them getting around $4.79 or $4.69, probably $4.79 in a day and a half, I want them to go to $10 a gallon. That's what I want to see. I want to see us really pay dirt. I am so sick of all these Band-Aid approaches that timely coming with the elections and the whole 9 yards on all ends of the spectrum. No, I never have been happy with both ends of the aisle. I really haven't. And I feel I'm losing that voice anymore.
I don't think that, number one, this is, people may not like this opinion, but part of the reason why I have constantly told people, and I think this is the case with this, everybody says it's good to have a business owner, businessman, businesswoman, running your executive because you can run business, you can run government like a business. And I know you've heard me say this many, many times, George. You cannot take that analogy one-to-one because you can't fire citizens. You can fire employees. You can change the products you sell. You can sell less. You can increase your price. It's up to you as a business. But your business can go out of the marketplace and completely fail, and there will be another business that will fill that void. You can't do that with a citizenship, and you can't do that with a country, a county, a state. So you could be fiscally strong, but you cannot take a pure business approach to lead a community as an elected official. I think what we're seeing with the gas prices is, small gain, small pain, large gain. Well, number one, we don't even know what we're gaining yet. We still haven't gotten the nuclear material yet. We haven't eradicated their terroristic arms around the world yet. I mean, even if Iran gave over all of their nuclear materials and then opened up the Strait of Hormuz, one, the gas prices, to your point, George, are not coming down right away. Number two, they would still retaliate. Hezbollah would still retaliate. Hamas is still an issue in the Gaza Strip. They're terrorizing Palestinians and Israelis. That's what people forget about what happened with Hamas. It wasn't just like the Israelis were victims. They've been terrorizing Palestinians, thank you very much, Lenny.
Yes.
Slow down, for 20 years. So all that said, those things don't go away. I've also said on here multiple times that soft power and hard power, that combination, those are the things that made America great internationally. Not just hard power, throwing elbows all over the place and just swinging. Right now, the United States, under this military strategy, is akin to like a 13-year-old girl that is just mad because you said something about her makeup and her outfit, so she's just swinging arms everywhere.
I agree. Commander-in-Chief is about as thin-skinned as well.
Well, there you go. Might hit somebody in the face, and by the way, he is thin-skinned. And for those of you that say, well, I love Donald Trump, you got to admit that he's thin-skinned. You can love Donald Trump, and you can admit that he's a thin-skinned dude that goes and does social media posts at 3 o'clock in the morning because of something he may or may not have seen on television. But I digress. When you are just swinging wildly with hard power, you will have some strikes. You will hit some people in the face. You may also swing so hard that you fall over. You may also swing so hard that you break your mother's favorite vase. Not vase, vase. So, I mean, that's what we're doing right now. And as a result, gas prices continue to go up, which means groceries continue to go up, which means division continues to deepen. And the only way they can even be competitive in midterms, both sides now, is to play with the maps, which goes back to the whole decision coming from the Supreme Court, which is leading to them, dare I say, suspending elections in Louisiana for the primary. Isn't that what everybody was talking about? They're trying to suspend elections, and it's like that would never happen. I've said that would never happen, and yet that's what's going to happen in at least one state, and there are other states that might be doing that are still on the primary map in order to redraw maps or consider redrawing maps and going into special election. The bottom line is none of it's democratic. None of it is free market. By the way, and it's the other thing, the whole approach to this, George, I know I'm talking a while. I'm going to hand it back in a second. But to your point on gas prices, that's been anti-free market. That's not conservative. That's not traditionally Republican either. So you have, in essence, anti-American international affairs, hard power versus hard and soft power, and you're seeing anti-free market principles from tariffs all the way down to the approach on the economy domestically and, of course, the price of gas and the price of tea in China. Your turn.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of this we've seen before, and we see it before, and we see it, and it just gets muffled in with everything else. It gets insulated by everything else that's going on at the same time. You know, we've had so much garbage and energy put into that draft that is finally over, thank God. Now we're even near a scuttlebutt that it was a waste of time and money. It wasn't a launching pad to the future.
It's
I
not,
mean, that's
George.
where, that's
George, the draft is not going to be a launching pad. I said multiple times. I said it on Monday on the Big K Morning Show. I'll be here again at 8 a.m. tomorrow. I said it last week.
I'll be listening.
And
I'll be listening at work.
It kind of rankled a little bit of feathers, I think, when I said it. I said it's not going to be a launching pad unless if you're attracting people to possibly move here or create businesses here. All it is basically getting, a $500 evening gown and $250 worth of a makeup job to go to Giant Eagle and peruse the produce section so that people could see you and say that you look nice.
Right.
At some point, I called out leadership. Local civic leadership, because the vision of this place more often than not, and this also, I think, rankled some feathers, and I apologize if it did. I wasn't trying to. I love Pittsburgh.
I like that.
I love Pittsburgh.
You had me on the edge of my seat.
George, I love Pittsburgh. I really do. I am a Pittsburgher. But, and people aren't going to like this, but there's a differentiation between thinking Yinzer and thinking about Pittsburgh. And sometimes when you think Yinzer, you think only within the ways you've always thought, which keeps things always the way they've always been in a society that is rapidly changing, so you're always behind. And whether that's economic development, whether that's how you get communities to work together, whether that's how you approach education, whether that's how you deal with criminal justice reform, whether that's how you deal with community organizations, looking at you, former Gainey administration, all those things, if you're looking through the lens of, 2003, Justin Timberlake ain't bringing sexy back. It's 2026. And if you're not focused on that, your communities continue to lose. So, part of this, George, goes back to, okay, it's another election year. Are we going to praise the same exact people, or are we going to actually vote some leaders into place to get them doing some things?
I have my ballot. I do a mail-in just in case I get tied up with work, and I have not filled it out yet, and I have to do it soon. I'm pretty cynical. I mentioned that once before. It just seems like we're just getting worse off and further away from the mark where everybody, the common man, whoever that is, and woman, and everything in between, really is. Society's gotten too complex for its own good.
Well, it's not. One, I'm going to tease you, George, because I like how you said the "whoa, man," because if you got the right woman, she does make you say "whoa, man." So, anywho, I saw you did that, George. That's straight out of the 70s. I feel you, dude. Anywho, but with what you said, part of the reason why it is getting away from the common man is because of who represents people in office, who is thinking about people in business, and who's speaking up for people in society. There are not enough people in those three lanes that have done enough grinding on everyday bases, loving on people regardless of what lane they're in, and then speaking to the multiple lanes simultaneously. It's never going to work because when you're in elected office or when you have a platform, George, you have to be eloquent and speaking to everybody. And again, I said this at the top of the show. Commonality and diversity have to be embraced simultaneously. If you only go after commonality and you ignore diversity, you're going to be homogeneous. You're going to divide people. If you only go after diversity and you don't have any type of commonality, what do you use to unify people? You have to have commonalities and diversity. And most people, George, don't do that anymore.
For many years, warfare worked as far as that. And I don't think it's working this time around.
No, it's not going to work. And, George, I always appreciate your call. I got to go to break. That doesn't work anymore. It's the same thing as why COVID didn't work. If COVID happens in 2001, the country comes together, more likely than not, people slap on masks. More likely than not, schools open sooner. And we don't lose 22 million jobs in a month. Instead, it was culturally divisive. And then you had a bunch of hypocrites. Don't leave home. Don't leave home. County executive up in Erie County leaves the state Don't let anybody leave nursing homes. Keep the old people just where they are. The Secretary of Health and Human Services in Pennsylvania puts her mother, and I'm being considerate using that pronoun, so don't anybody try to get on my case about it, puts her mother in a hotel. Governor, don't leave your home, don't leave your home, don't leave your home. Governor's husband, talking about Gretchen Whitmer, goes to hang out on the boat. We won't even get into Chris Christie and his family. So, no, it's not going to work anymore. Because people aren't willing to make the sacrifices at the top that they're asking other people to make, which goes back to the gas prices. When you're worth millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, who cares? Especially if you're on the government dole, you're not paying for the gas anyway. You're not paying for the jet fuel anyway. So you're not seeing any of those costs. It almost goes back to Bush 41. Oh, I didn't even know they had these scanner things. I didn't even know the price of bread. Out of touch. It was a song by Hall and Oates. It wasn't Halls and Oates. The Oates was plural. The Hall was singular. There was a song by Hall and Oates. Out of touch, out of time. We're slipping towards the out of time because way too many people in positions of power are out of touch. Sam, getting to you. Getting to the top of the hour after this on News Radio KDKA.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKA-radio.com.
Mother's Day, celebrate her with something truly special. At P.F. Chang's, enjoy a 5-course celebration experience starting at just $89.99. Featuring premium entrees like New York prime strip steak tataki, oolong Chilean sea bass, and lobster and prawn fried rice, plus the bold signature flavors she loves. It's more than a meal. It's a celebration made just for her. Reserve your table now and make Mother's Day unforgettable. Only at P.F. Chang's. Available when you dine in for a limited time only at participating locations. Offer may vary.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Furnished by IntelliBrands. Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Get an Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact. Improve your flexibility and balance. Strengthen and tone your legs.
My joints feel better, my knees feel better, my back feels better, and it makes me feel stronger too.
My circulation is moving. I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
It's so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. And for a limited time, get a free upgrade to our deluxe bundle with a faster motor, sport mat, and wireless remote. Call 800-555-1212. That's 800-555-1212. 800-555-1212 now. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Join Beth Andrews for the Net Worth Financial Hour Saturdays at 1 to get the news and information you need to make your retirement dream a reality. That's the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews, Saturdays at 1. Net Worth Advisors, LLC is a registered investment advisor.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
So this is what I'm going to do. Sam, hang on, because I'm about to go up against another break. This is a really, really tiny segment. But I'm going to get to Sam at the top of the hour, because I'm not working hours. I'm not going to be here for another 5 hours, y'all. I love y'all, but gots to go. I will be here tomorrow, though. Big K Morning Show, 8 to 9. I will be here on Memorial Day. Now, that's going to be in hours, 5 to 10 on Memorial Day. So as you're finishing up your grilling, I will be finishing up the shift here. And part of the reason why it's so long, now I'm going to read this. This is from a Venn diagram of one. I'm reading it because I'm hungry. Honestly. It's not self-promotion. It's explaining this fast I do every month, first 3 days. This is from 1996. So I've been doing it for 30 years. Now, they're like, look, my wife's birthday is at the top of the month. My son's birthday is at the top of the month. I will eat during those celebrations. You're supposed to, even biblically in the New Testament, you're supposed to celebrate life. You're not supposed to look like you're fasting, or you're not supposed to do those type of things. And again, this is not religiously based or dogmatically based. It's based on an agreement I made with God. And I'll read the passage, the excerpt from a Venn diagram of one. I don't remember parking the car at 2 a.m. I don't remember walking through what's now UPMC Montefiore. All I remember is getting on my knees in that large elevator. Again, I was alone, and saying simply to God, Lord, if you spare his life and let my dad live, I will fast in Thanksgiving regularly every month for the rest of my life. He needs to be here for Missy to get her through school. He needs to be here because the family couldn't take this. If you spare his life and let him live, I'll fast the first 3 days of every month to say thank you for the rest of my life. And then it goes on to say, why the first 3 days? Again, I don't know. I don't remember the fast taking any type of characteristic or any type of parameter. And again, that's from the book. But that's why I fast the first 3 days of every month. And like I said in the passage, it's not just about him anymore. Over the years, and again, the passage, over the years, my focus during these 3 days expands to Thanksgiving for everything I can think of. My wife, my children, my house, life's second and third and fourth chances. God's grace, laughter, talent, health, and the kindness of others. It comes as random thank yous to God. Now, I'm saying that because I'm explaining why I'm hungry. And these are days where it's like, look, I'm working, maybe I should. But then I go back to remembering why I do it. The fasting, the Thanksgiving, and just saying you can get through it. And I apply that to all of us. All this frustration and tension and division and just sifting through quagmire after quagmire, we can still get through it. But it takes intentionality. It takes embracing the commonalities of our common values as Americans and the diversity of what being an American truly is all about. The combination is the winning formula. Catch you on the other side of the news on News Radio KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
The Pittsburgh Speaker Series at Heinz Hall, presented by University of Pittsburgh, announces its 26-27 season. 7 evenings to deepen your understanding of the world around you, featuring Anderson Cooper, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, financial journalist Andrew Ross Sorkin, former NASA Administrator Charles Bolden, and the former U.S. Ambassador to China Nicholas Burns. The series is sponsored by News Radio KDKA and the Spanos Group of Raymond James. Tickets on sale now at pittsburghspeakers.org.
Pittsburgh International Airport is at a clear disadvantage in passenger boardings relative to airports in metropolitan areas that have substantially faster population and employment gains. And that, say researchers at the Allegheny Institute for Public Policy, is despite generous subsidies bestowed on carriers at Pitt. Learn more about this topic and others at AlleghenyInstitute.org, where conventional public policy wisdom has been challenged since 1995. AlleghenyInstitute.org.
Spring savings continue at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, lean and tender pork shoulder steaks or roast are $1.99 a pound. In the produce department, fresh red ripe strawberries, 1 pound packages, 2 for $5. In our deli department, jalapeno popper dip, $7.99 a pound. And additional savings this week, selected varieties of Old El Paso dinner kits, 8 to 13 ounce boxes, 2 for $7.
So get in on the spring savings at Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Allegheny County is
is looking for poll workers to work the election on May 19th. Poll workers earn $150 to $175 for the day plus paid training. For more info and to apply, visit AlleghenyVotes.com. That's AlleghenyVotes.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Heather Bosch. Mystery at a military training exercise in Morocco. CBS's Chris Livesay explains.
A search and rescue operation is underway after 2 U.S. service members were reported missing off the coast of the North African nation. U.S. military officials tell CBS News they went missing in what is believed to be an accident that was unrelated to military activities. Their names and details surrounding the incident have not yet been released.
They disappeared during a recreational hike. A virus outbreak on a cruise ship in the Atlantic Ocean has killed 3 people and sickened at least 3 others, the BBC's Tom Bailey reports.
The World Health Organization confirmed the outbreak and said tests had identified at least 1 positive case of a hantavirus, with at least 5 additional suspected cases. Hantavirus infections, usually spread by rodents, can cause hemorrhagic fever and severe respiratory illness.
South African media say the outbreak hit while the ship was off the coast of West Africa. President Trump is reviewing Iran's latest proposal to end the war with the U.S. More from CBS's Wendy Gillette.
President Trump held an impromptu press conference Saturday before departing Palm Beach, Florida, focused on current negotiations with Iran to end the U.S. war.
They want to make a deal. They're decimated. They're having a hard time figuring out who their leader is.
Later, he posted online about the proposal, writing, "Can't imagine that it would be acceptable in that they have not yet paid a big enough price for what they have done to humanity and the world over the last 47 years.
Near the Strait of Hormuz, the crew of a cargo ship reports it was attacked by multiple small boats, according to a British military monitor. Iran continues to claim it has control of the strait. Ukraine is taking aim at Russia's oil exports, hitting a key loading port on the Baltic Sea and 3 tankers that Ukraine claims were illegally used to transport Russian crude. The Oscars of the East Coast are tomorrow night in New York.
The first Monday in May means the Met Gala will take over New York City's Upper East Side, with a who's who of celebrities parading up the stairs of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Beyoncé, Serena Williams, and Nicole Kidman are co-chairs.
Your behavior is unacceptable.
All under the watchful eye of Vogue's global editorial director, Anna Wintour.
I hope that's not what you're wearing to the dinner. That's all.
Expect the stars to rock this year's dress code. Fashion is art. The party raises money for the museum's Costume Institute. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News, New
Jeff
York.
Bezos and Lauren Sanchez are lead sponsors and honorary chairs this year. This is CBS News.
It's one of the most successful law and justice programs in television history that continues to uncover the truth. 48 Hours, Saturday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code MONEY to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money, so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code MONEY to borrow up to $10,000. Use code MONEY to borrow up to $10,000.
A massive asteroid is set to make a rare, close pass by Earth in 2029. CBS's Stacey Lynn reports.
This space rock, known as Apophis, will fly within about 20,000 miles of the planet, closer than many satellites in orbit. The asteroid's roughly the size of the Eiffel Tower and will be visible to the naked eye in parts of the world. Scientists say the flyby offers a rare opportunity to study how Earth's gravity could alter an asteroid's path and structure. And despite early fears after its discovery in 2004, NASA now says there's no risk of impact for at least the next century. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
President Trump says he'll soon release new UFO records that will be, quote, very interesting. He's directed the Pentagon to share documents related to UFOs and extraterrestrial life. The Pentagon's already working to declassify material about mysterious aircraft as ordered by Congress in 2022. I'm Heather Bosch, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Going to turn out mostly cloudy as we head through tonight. We'll get down to 49 for an overnight low. Tomorrow's going to be a breezy, warmer day with times of clouds and sun, high 71, and still a shower or two tomorrow night, low 57. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Roofing Company.
All right. 6 past the final hour. Lenny McAllister, you and I, spending in this instance, a truly sunny Sunday together. 866-391-1020. Sam in South Park, appreciate your patience. You're on KDK.
Hey, Lenny, how are you?
I'm doing well, child of God. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, I don't know about you, but I think it's becoming very frustrating for many people hearing our government saying that we don't have enough money for you to help you with your gas, whether it's your electric bill, or we don't have any way to alleviate your situation for your rent, or even fighting something like homelessness. We don't have the money for that. But we're also told that when it comes to war, we have all the money that we need for that. I heard an interesting statistic, and it said that homelessness in the United States, we could eliminate homelessness at the cost of $10 to $30 billion. So in the amount of time that we've been at war with Iran,
one day, yeah,
we could have eliminated homelessness.
Well, it's $20 billion a day. Well, it's been not $20 billion a day, but yeah, I get your point where you are, and here's the thing. There's a constitutional argument that says constitutionally the government's required to protect national sovereignty, which includes making sure that we go to war to make sure the United States is a sovereign nation. At the same time,
I don't think that's what the Constitution says, but okay.
It does say to ensure, and part of the preamble talks about domestic tranquility. It does go towards the notion of national sovereignty, keeping us safe. There's a reason why there's a commander-in-chief. But to your point, because I'm not disagreeing with you, to your point, there's a difference between protecting national sovereignty and wars of choice, which is why I told people when this happened that it was a major indication as to what the mindset was. Everybody poo-pooed when President Trump changed the name from the Department of Defense to Department of War and then used this is what it used to be called, rationale behind it. I actually mentioned it on the Big K Morning Show months ago when it happened, It's a mindset shift. It's not just changing one word defense for another word war. It is how you're approaching things. And I've heard, and I love the people that are on this station, I've heard colleagues of mine saying, what's wrong with going from defense to offense? It's this, Sam. It's you start going into wars of choice, saying that you're proactively doing something. Again, it was supposed to be the Americans and the Israelis going in together because this was an Israeli problem that was indirectly also an American problem. And now all of a sudden, all we talk about are the Americans and the Iranians, and the Israelis are dealing with Lebanon. When you think about wars of choice, actions of choice, and then you start talking about the resource burn, it goes to your point. How can you spend money on choices in one regard, but not worry about domestic tranquility and national sovereignty in another regard? The bottom line is if you are able to take care of your people better or provide opportunities for them in a more accessible fashion, you can ensure both of those things from the inside out just as much as you're trying to ensure from the outside in.
I just think that it's getting to a point where people are getting frustrated to hear that all of our resources are constantly being thrown into a pit to help some other country that is refusing to listen to what we consistently ask of them to stop these, to abide by ceasefires, and then they go and move on in Lebanon, and then everybody turns a blind eye to that and says, oh, well, Iran bombed some location in response to Israeli attack. But nobody says that Israel is the one that's breaking the ceasefire. Nobody is saying that while we are constantly being thrown into these positions where our resources have to be just taken advantage of, Israel does not have those types of obligations. When we went to war in Iraq for 20 years, we sent 3.5 billion soldiers to go, 3.5 million soldiers to go fight in that 20-year period. Israel sent zero.
I get that.
Our number one ally in the region sent zero in 20 years.
Sam, but you've made this argument. But hold on,
Sam. To me.
Okay, but here's the thing,
Sam. It should be disturbing to everybody else.
Sam, but here's the thing. Sam, hold on. Take a breath. Let me say this point. You got to. If you're not going to stop, I'm not going to have you on the air. Because what I would like to say to you is, it's not something that's only pinned on the Israelis, because we still control us. Some of this, to the point that you made, the bigger point you made, this is a mindset that you have with people in government, that they have no problem spending resources on the bigger...
Well, I think you're right about that. There's definitely a mindset, and the mindset is that everybody who is in office is Israel first. And
that's not true. And I appreciate your phone call. I think there are some people that have been America first, that have been pushing back, that are looking at this from a different lens. I think you're trying to pin this just on Israel, and I'm not going to let you do that, because the issue that you speak to, which there are certainly merits to, those issues are bigger than what's just going on right now with Iran and with Israel. The United States has a tendency to burn money on the big, shiny things. We just went to the far side of the moon. How much did that cost? I'm not saying we shouldn't have done it. I'm just saying we just went to the far side of the moon, and there are people that ask, how much did that cost? There are other audacious projects that do give us benefits because of scientific developments and the like. But there's always a counter argument, which is, could we have delayed that for a year and taken care of the issue of hunger with the impoverished in America? Could we have taken that money and delayed that project for 18 months and put that into the healthcare system to fix the gaps in order to make it more affordable? Could we have taken that money and, I don't know, continued the Obamacare subsidies? They make sure more Americans during a tight economy had more access to their doctors without having to make light bill, doctor bill choices. That's bigger than Israel. And to just pin it on Israel kind of goes back into the tropes that people like to say about Israel. And I don't want to get into that because the argument, which has merit, is bigger than this Israeli example. And you run the risk, Sam, and again, I always appreciate your call, but I often see where you're going with this too. And you sideswipe your bigger point with trying to take, a jab at Israel. And it misses the bigger point, which is our priorities are off. The Soviet Union collapsed from the inside out, not the outside in. We didn't invade the Soviet Union and win. In fact, everybody that tried to invade Russia, looking at you, Napoleon, looking at you, Hitler, didn't win. The Soviet Union collapsed from the inside out. Divisions, dissatisfactions, resources getting drained, getting mired in war such as Afghanistan for them in the 80s, being spread thin, trying to prop up all these satellite states. Again, when you have a philosophy in government that believes that hard power is the way to go exclusively, you forget that you empower your people and then thus you're empowered on the global stage if you're able to use soft power to empower people, including in your country, at home. And when you miss that point, yeah, it's very easy to spend $10 billion on war, $20 billion on war. Let that baby just keep cranking up. It's funny money anyway. It's very easy to see it as funny money when it's being fought halfway around the world. It's a different story when you look and say, how do I keep America safe by making sure more kids get a quality education? How do I keep America safe by making sure we have more scientists? We saw the vulnerability that America had during COVID because we didn't have enough healthcare workers. Then they left the industry because they were so burned out. Look at what's going on with teachers in schools. Can I keep America safe? Can I do America first with a domestic agenda that ensures domestic tranquility, protects national sovereignty, and empowers the American people, while also looking geopolitically and making sure nobody attacks these borders or attacks our interests around the world? To your point, Sam, your bigger point, we don't have elected officials that are doing both adequately, that are speaking to both adequately, intentionally, and consistently. You are correct in that regard. You are incorrect when you're trying to just pin it on what's going on with Israel right now and Iran right now. That's being myopic in the viewpoint. The bigger viewpoint, I think, has merit, and I concur with. And I also, as I've said previously, I also say that's an issue of leadership. Which, by the way, is what I told Ted this earlier in the show. That's what I spoke to at the Plumboro Republican dinner on Friday night. Less about partisanship. In fact, I didn't even talk about partisanship by and large. I brought up 3 Republican presidents. I brought up Lincoln, Eisenhower, and Reagan. But I talked about leadership, which is a trait that transcends even being American. But it is certainly something that helps us be the best Americans that we can be. 866-391-1020. Going to Michael in Wexford after the break on News Radio. KDKA.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall and Museum recognizes Pennsylvania's combat veterans who have received medals for gallantry. With this Hall of Valor moment, here's the Education Director of Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall and Museum, Tim Neff.
Sergeant Thomas J. O'Toole of Allegheny County was awarded the Silver Star in Korea on July 8, 1953. O'Toole manned a listening post on contested ground forward of the main line of resistance. As midnight approached, an enemy force launched an attack in which they employed automatic weapons and numerous grenades. O'Toole, responding at once, mortally wounded 3 in the initial hours of fire and continued to lay heavy fire on the oncoming enemy until his weapon was blown from his hands by an exploding grenade. He then moved to a position where one of his comrades had fallen and took up his weapon, alternating hurling grenades and leveling effective fire until the enemy was routed and withdrew in disorder.
To nominate a qualifying hero for the Hall of Valor, please contact Tim Neff at soldiersandsailorshall.org.
Furnished by IntelliBrands. Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Get an Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact. Improve your flexibility and balance, strengthen and tone your legs.
My joints feel better, my knees feel better, my back feels better, and it makes me feel stronger too.
My circulation is moving. I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
It's so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. And for a limited time, get a free upgrade to our deluxe bundle with a faster motor, sport mat, and wireless remote. Call 800-555-1212. That's 800-555-1212. 800-555-1212 now. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Why would a guy in financial services pick a fight with the financial industry? Because in many cases, the system they built works more for them than it does for you. Tune in for a new kind of retirement show with Greg Ayler. Now at a new time, Saturdays at 5 on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at KennyRoss.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Hear about it, then talk about it. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, let me go back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Michael in Wexford, thank you for holding. You're on KDKA.
Good afternoon, and thank you.
Good afternoon.
Just a brief question. I'm sure you can help me with this. Your most recent caller, I think, indicated that the federal government is failing by not helping Americans with their rent, utilities, gas prices, and the homelessness. And I'm just an uneducated older gentleman. I'm wondering what section in the Constitution provides for the federal government taking care of those expenses.
Now, I answered that, Michael. I said, number one, there's a constitutional argument that says that the government has the responsibility to protect national sovereignty and protect national domestic tranquility. I brought that up and said that, to your point, that's not necessarily there. But then I also said, to Sam's point, when you start talking about wars of choice and you're talking about a churn rate and a burn rate of resources for wars of choice and actions of choice, then it is a fair argument to look and say, well, you said you don't have the money for this, but you chose to do this. And as a result, resources are being squandered that could help things. And then I made this argument as well, Michael, that when you're talking about a constitutional mandate to ensure domestic tranquility and indirectly national sovereignty, soft power that helps to enable your people, especially during hard times, some hard times that were created by elected officials with bad choices, it's not an incorrect argument to say, well, if we're making choices, why can't we choose one over the other? A war that comes to your shores, you got to go fight that war. A war that you take to other people because you heard on a theory and your intelligence is conflicting against each other, it's completely different. And then the argument of resources is a valid one.
I'm going to just respond with two brief comments. First, no one will ever convince me that our founding fathers, the geniuses that they are and remain, thought that federal tax dollars should be collected to pay rent, utilities, gas, help the homelessness, and ensure tranquility within the United States.
And they
Absolutely not.
And they also didn't think women. Whoa. And I'm going to answer you, give you real quick, then I got to go to break. They didn't think women should vote. They made a compromise and counted slaves as 3/5 of a person. So when it go down to their genius and we want to go down to their what they believed in versus what they actually did, there was a huge schism between what they quote unquote believed in, and they did believe in it, but also what they did, because a lot of that was found wanting. So we're going to have to agree to disagree. Keep going.
Disagree with that. Let me ask you one other question. You can respond after the break if you so choose. Why is it that, I think his name was Sam, and radio talk show hosts like yourself never talk about the following, and I quote, federal prosecutors have estimated that fraud in Minnesota-run federally funded programs could exceed $9 billion. That's $9 billion with a B.
Michael,
socialist.
Michael, you want to go into blue state socialist. You want to talk about corruption. Yep. I can go into all the grifting that's happening with the Trump administration as well. I can go into what happened with the Biden administration as well. So am I worried about welfare fraud and abuse that I have seen, whether it was Enron all the way to what happened in Minnesota? Yes, I can talk about that. I can also talk about the disturbing issues that's going on with the Trump family making all kind of money with Donald Trump being in office, part one and part two, as well as what happened with Hunter Biden. So where do you want to go with this? Because if you want to start talking about corruption, right now we got a president that's been doing a whole lot of shady things that nobody on one aspect of American politics wants to bring out either. Are we going there? Are we going there? Are we going there?
If that's a fact, take him to court. Oh, you did. He was elected twice. He's going to finish out his term. And I tune into this station specifically to enjoy hearing the misery among
drinking.
The left.
Yes, drinking. I appreciate drinking liberal tears. I just go ahead and say it. Meanwhile, job creation has slowed down to a crawl. Gas prices are hitting $5 a gallon. We're in a quagmire in the Middle East, the one thing he said he wouldn't do. And you still haven't touched on, the grifting I talked about, Michael. But other than that, this current administration is going swimmingly. Now, I know you're going to want to go into whataboutism with Kamala Harris. And the bottom line is if she were a better candidate, she would have won, even with 107 days. When you go there and you see Joe Biden stutter over himself, and then you go on The View and you tell your core base of voters, I wouldn't do anything differently than a guy that obviously is struggling, maybe you should lose. News coming up next. Coming back after that on News Radio KDKA.
Spring savings continue at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, great on the grill, ahi tuna steaks are $9.99 a pound. In the produce department, Haas variety avocados are 5 for $5. In the deli, Garden Fresh Pico de Gallo, 12-ounce packages, $3.99 each. And additional savings this week, selected varieties Totino's tortilla chips, 10 to 12 ounce bags, 2 for $7.
Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of adults, both men and women, suffer from varicose or spider veins. And this is not just a cosmetic problem. If left untreated, varicose veins can lead to severe swelling, cramping, heavy bleeding, the inability to stand or walk, neuropathy, permanent paralysis, and worst case, blood clots, which can be life-threatening. But here's the good news. USA Vein Clinics offer plans that treat and cure the condition, not just cover up the problem. And the procedure is fast and simple. Grab your phone, take down this number, and call 800-452-0119. That's 800-452-0119. When you call, you'll get free information on how you can live your life to the fullest again. Walk, exercise, sleep well. Your varicose vein problems will not go away on their own. Call USA Vein Clinics today for free information on fast and easy solutions covered by most insurance, including Medicare. Call 800-452-0119. That's 800-452-0119. Call 800-452-0119 today.
I've heard everything you tell yourself every time you felt different. And I want you to know, taking care of your mind is taking care of everyone you love. Love your mind. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
When you call yourself the voice of Pittsburgh, you have to know when to not talk. Sometimes you just need to be the ears of Pittsburgh. Just listen. Listen to what you have to say. These are complicated and uncertain times. But when you need us, we're here for you, and we're listening. A trusted source that you can count on to be here. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. 2 U.S. service members disappeared during a recreational hike in Morocco after military exercises. CBS's Chris Livesay.
Helicopters were heard throughout the night as the search was underway. And this morning, we observed more helicopters, as well as planes and drones, where the Sahara Desert meets the Atlantic Ocean.
A suspected hantavirus outbreak on a cruise ship in the Atlantic has killed 3 people. The BBC's Tom Bailey says it's unclear how many others were exposed.
The vessel is thought to have capacity for around 170 passengers and 70 crew, but it's not yet clear how many were on board during this trip.
Despite high fuel prices due to the Iran war, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent tells Fox News
a lot of optimism that oil prices on the other side of this conflict are going to be much lower than they were going in or at the beginning of the year or at any point in 2025.
CBS News Brief, I'm Heather Bosch.
I still remember the first time CertaPro painters did their magic in my kitchen. Professional, beautiful, no worry. Loved everything about it. So there was the next room, and even outside. And know that each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated right here in our community. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. It's so easy. And take advantage of the spring sales event for 10% off qualifying projects through May 15th. So go with CertaPro painters.
Starting a home improvement project? Before you build a deck, plant a tree, or put up a fence, remember to call 811. Professionals from underground utilities like Peoples will mark your lines with flags so you can dig safely. Whether you're doing the work yourself or hiring a professional, calling 811 before you dig is free for homeowners. And it's the law. Call 811 3 days before you dig to keep you and your family safe. Peoples, an essential utilities company.
Pittsburgh's very own board-certified and licensed hypnotherapist Dan Vitchoff of the PA Hypnosis Center is here to help you. He has helped train U.S. Olympic team members control their brains, stay relaxed, focused, and in control, giving them the edge for the gold. He's recognized by many organizations around the world as one of the top hypnotherapists anywhere. He has gotten over 3,000 people to give up cigarettes for good in the last 22 years. He's helped folks even who've tried gastric bypass to lose weight. He can help you and give you a 98% success guarantee. Call 724-934-8446. That's Dan Bitchoff, the PA Hypnosis Center. Mention KDKA and get $50 off any program. But call for a free consultation today, 724-934-8446. The PA Hypnosis Center with Dan Bitchoff. Make that call today, 724-934-8446.
The popularity of cremation is on the rise. Unfortunately, so is the cost. I'm Dustin D'Alessandro, supervisor and funeral director. To keep the cost down, the Thomas M. Smith Funeral Home and Crematory Limited in Blawnox and the D'Alessandro Funeral Home and Crematory Limited in Lawrenceville have on-site crematories. By performing the cremation on-site without losing custody of the remains, our funeral homes can defray those costs and pass the savings on to you. Our fee for a direct cremation is only $1,250. This low-cost, direct cremation offer is available to all residents of Allegheny County. Surrounding counties will incur a slight additional fee based on mileage. Contact us with questions or to schedule an appointment by calling the Blawnox office at 412-828-5700 or our Lawrenceville office at 412-682-6500. Our websites are thomasmsmithfuneralhome.com and DeLisandroLTD.com.
Make Cinco de Mayo delicious with Easy Cater, the easiest way to order food from favorite restaurants for all your celebrations. From April 27th through May 5th, every order placed earns you 1,000 bonus rewards points. Whether you're looking for traditional favorites like tacos and tortas, festive options like a build your own nacho bar, or hosting a breakfast fiesta with huevos rancheros and breakfast burritos, Easy Cater makes food for Cinco de Mayo a cinch. Order now at EasyCater.com with promo code Cinco de Mayo 26. Restrictions apply. See offer details.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
It will turn out mostly cloudy into tonight. We'll get down to 49 for an overnight low. Tomorrow's going to be a breezy, warmer day with intervals of clouds and sun, high 71. More clouds Tuesday, the chance for a thunderstorm, high 75. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Going through a big weekend? Yep. We'll get there to Monday. And when Monday hits, for sure, I'll be back. It's going to be fantastic. With you 2 to 6 on Monday. Join me then. Colin Dunlap right here, KDK.
Welcome back, Lenny McAllister here on News Radio KDKA. And we're here now in May. We still have the war going on. We still have gas prices high. We still have division. And literally, we are 2 months away from celebrating America's 250th birthday. Now, regardless of how you want to cut it, regardless of who you want to blame, when you look at the calendar and you realize that Memorial Day is, 3-4 weeks away from tomorrow? And then on top of that, you look out and you say, if that's the beginning of summer, right smack in the middle of summer is this 250th birthday celebration that we all well know that the state, because we have a presidential candidate, let's just call it what it is. I'm not going to say anything facetious about it. And we have a very, dare I say, vain and ready-made for television president. Just between those two aspects alone, and the fact that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania just so happens to house the birthplace of liberty in Philadelphia. If you can combine those three things, it is very, very evident, at least to me, that we're going to have this very stark contrast that we're going to have to deal with. On one hand, you're going to have a whole bunch of fireworks. You're going to have a whole bunch of celebrations. Everybody is going to have a George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison wig. Everybody's going to try to quote Benjamin Franklin and tell us about the Federalist Papers. And it's kind of ironic I'm saying this because I'm a guy that literally quoted these people in my book, A Venn Diagram of One. Again, go pre-order it if you have an opportunity. As I mentioned previously, I had a chance to be on Michael Medved's show earlier this week, and The book momentum's going out there. All that said, you're going to have a dynamic where there's a lot of people going back to that. And then there's going to be a slight bridge where people are going to say, how do we get back to that? And then on the other side, you're going to have all this angst. Because the markets have already told us, when gas prices go up this high, they're not going down to 256 within a week and a half if the war ends tomorrow, which, by the way, the war ends not ending tomorrow. In fact, Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, did I do that on purpose? I don't know. You tell me. Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump seem to both be playing from the same playbook now when it comes to the war in Ukraine and now the war in Iran, which is this. We're bigger, we're badder, we should win. And because we're bigger and we're badder and we should win, we'll win by attrition. Now, pure military strategy, that might be the strategy you should take. But if you're an American consumer looking at the gas prices, looking at grocery prices, looking at the cost of living, looking at the job numbers, maybe you don't take that approach. And that's going to be the other dynamic we're going to hear from. We're going to hear from a place of division and hurt. We're going to hear from people from a place of disillusionment. It's kind of ironic because if you go back to 1876, the centennial, that was the great compromise, right? That was the election that ended Reconstruction. So it wasn't like 1876 was some great shakes with their celebration either. It was after the Civil War, rise of the Klan coming up, Reconstruction creating a lot of resentment. It was after the horrible presidency of Andrew Johnson, which came after the assassination of Lincoln. Grant kind of was this figure that could have been more of a president than he actually was. And then you have this great compromise that sold out millions of black people and literally bequeathed us 100 years of lynches, of Jim Crow laws, lynches. You know what I mean. You go back and let's say you go to 1926, 150 years. Roaring 20s. Again, we were heading to the cliff. We all know what happened in 29. It's kind of ironic, too, because if you think about 1876 and then what happened for 100 years, 1926, and then what happened in 29. And then I'll take us to our lifetime. Pretty much all of you out there at 866-391-1020, you know what life was like in 1976. I know that you all are nostalgic for bell bottoms and, you know, Saturday Night Fever and disco and all that jazz, if you will, or disco, not jazz. But 1976, 3 years later, we had the crisis of confidence speech. We had a sitting president telling us there will be no Soviet domination of Eastern Europe under a Ford administration. And we had had to taunt for like 20 years by that point in time. And we had to leave Vietnam in some ways with our tail between our legs. I would say from a country standpoint with our tail between our legs, the people that fought bravely with military leaders and political leaders that were running both north and south at the same exact time. No pun intended. They fought honorably. Country's political leadership, a little bit of military leadership thrown in with that, maybe not so much. I'm saying all that to say, here we sit again, 250 years, America 250. And we're at another point of time where the celebration comes at a very crucial point.
You know, if we'd have done this, let's say in 1996, and I understand the math, but play along. You get where I'm going with this. In 1996, the country, no wars, pretty good economy, pretty smooth sailing. And yeah, we had 9/11 5 years later. There's always something coming because we're dealing with human beings. It's human history. Yet, 96, much better time to have this celebration. I would even make the case that 86. Again, I know the math. Don't remind me of the math. I was a history major. I'm talking about history. I am not talking about math. Play along. Thank you very much. In 1986, look at where we were as a culture. Look at where we were as an economy. We were coming back. That Morning in America actually stuck. That campaign slogan and commercials that President Reagan had, which, by the way, I don't remember seeing them. I mean, I was old enough to recognize and know that there were political commercials on. I don't ever remember seeing the commercial. I don't know if it's because I changed the channel, because at the time I was, 12? I don't know if it was, was doing what 12-year-olds should be doing. Was outside playing with friends. I don't know. But I remember the commercial now. Part of it, too, is, let's just be honest, it was very, very middle America. I'm living in a working class, black middle class neighborhood in Penn Hills. And I was like, I can't vote anyway. And by that, I will say this. By that point in time, I think I'd already said to myself, Reagan's going to win. Which, pretty audacious for a 12-year-old. That said, which, by the way, I don't know if you all knew this or not, but Penn Hills at one point in time in the early 1990s, I think it was in Ebony magazine, was rated the 10th best place for African Americans to live in the United States based on employment numbers, based on home ownership, and average household income. I think in 1992, it was rated number 10 on the top 10 list, which surprised the heck out of me. Of course, full of pride because, I went to St. Bart's University. I grew up in Penn Hills. But to see it in print was kind of cool. I say all that to say this, to get back to those years that end in 6. If you look at those big celebrations, 1876, 1926, and 1976, I'll pick those 3. We were headed towards something. We were headed to something bad. We were ignoring things. Again, we were very isolationist in the 1920s. Adolf Hitler, by that point in time, that movement was ginning up the resentment because of all the reparations that Germany was paying. It was ginning up that resentment, and people were not paying attention to that. That's Europe's problem. 1876, Great Compromise. We have to have the White House. Have we not heard this before? It doesn't matter. Just make the deal. We have to have the White House. What's the worst that can happen? Well, from a fiscal standpoint, from an economic standpoint, somebody should do a study on this. We cost the United States of America untold billions of dollars by allowing Jim Crow to be rampant for 100 years across the United States. I know that you all are saying, we didn't have Jim Crow in Pittsburgh. You had segregation in Pittsburgh. You had mores that would tell you one person can't go here or there. One person can't do this job or that job. One person can't buy a house here or there. One person can't marry this person or that person. One person can't even be friends with this person or that person. Can't go to the same churches, yada, yada, yada. You don't have to have it on the books for it to be, in essence, law. Or at least what everybody follows as law. You don't want to call it Jim Crow, call it, Jumbo Crow. I don't care. Call it Yinzer Crow. Everybody had a variation of it. And it wasn't just Pittsburgh. So don't think I'm beating up on our hometown. It was bad here. It was really bad in Chicago, really bad in Philadelphia. We all know the stuff that New York had. And you had pockets of people fighting against that, including here in Pittsburgh. We had some very historic people, black, white, other, that tore down those walls. My point is, 1876, we weren't paying attention, and you had this dichotomy going on that ended up costing us billions of dollars, untold lives, and weakened us as a country. 1926, we took our eye off the ball. By 29, we had a world depression, and we had hatred that had fermented for years that led to World War II. 1976, we were still hurting from 68. We were still hurting from 63. We were still hurting from all the stuff that had happened in the 60s. And the average American felt like America's best days were behind us. Does that sound familiar? My greater point is this. Before I leave you, so I'm going to get out of here. And again, I'll be on tomorrow morning with Larry Richard, 8 to 9, the Big K Morning Show. He starts at 5:30. I ain't starting at 5:30. He starts at 5:30. I will be here 8 to 9 like I always am. I am going to be filling in Memorial Day. I'll get to that. I think it's 5 to 10, but that's weeks away. But let me leave you with this. I want us to understand that you just can't take your eye off the ball, regardless of all the distractions. I know what happened with the Voting Rights Act earlier this week. We talked about that. I know that the draft is come and gone, and they're already talking about the city might not be able to recoup the money for that. I already know that we get this really interesting situation, and tragic in a lot of ways, with this investigation with the former mayoral administration. It's tragic. Look, the bottom line is tragic. If things come out of that, it's the first African-American mayor, and this is the legacy. My point is, it's very easy to take your eye off the ball now. It's something we just simply can't do, folks. Have the celebration. Remember why we're celebrating. And then let's challenge each other to be better. Use the celebration as that spark from the fireworks to touch the stars. Because we can still do that in this country. But it starts